All right, what's this doing there? Adjustments. All right. It's a Friday night, waiting for everyone to rock up. I often sing to myself when I talk about doing things. I was about to say I don't do that in real life, but I do. I mean, okay, so this is real life, but I was going to say I don't do it when I'm not streaming. But I do it sometimes when I'm not streaming, not as often as I do while I'm streaming. If you took the percentage of time on streaming that I sing about what I'm doing, it's much higher than the percentage of when I sing to myself when I'm not streaming. That was a very convoluted explanation. And hello, Megaleech. How are you this fun evening? Ugh. Oh, I thought I was going to do a huge gross burp then, but I just did that little noise. Ricky Bobby, hello. How are you? Starting the evening with an energy drink. So I can maybe, hopefully, go for a few hours. And happy Friday to you as well, Salumi. Nice to see you. We're basically at the end of September. Do we have one more day? Or is this the last day? It's literally the last day. Jesus. That's all come on a bit quick, hasn't it? The year being 3/4 over? That's not right. I'm not on board with the year already being 3/4 over. Not on. On complaint to management. So it's a post-shot. You've had random uterus cramps. Could be sympathetic cramping with your housemates. Yeah, you're talking about that was your fourth COVID shot, yeah? Yeah, in my household, it's ranged from no reaction to mild sort of cold symptoms. Hi, Justin. How's it going? Do. And speaking of COVID, how fucking appalling is the decision to just get rid of all restrictions. People with COVID don't have to isolate. It's just like, fucking hell. This is tap dancing on a tightrope. It's such a high risk proposition. Yes. Salimi, I did see Archie Rose has a Halloween cocktail. Their bottled cocktails are pretty good. I actually have one in the fridge. Miss Foxification, hello. Feel like I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you've been well. Yes, Salimi, I can understand not wanting to get COVID around Halloween or Pride March. It's yeah. So it's like, even just being sick, like even if there's no mandatory isolation, if you're sick, you're sick. And that takes a lot of fun. And the world, as we have learned over the last couple of years, is full of assholes who will show up to events or work while being obviously sick. And it's not in all cases COVID, but it's just like, seriously, in a global pandemic, you just fucking show up to things sick? Jesus. Oh, well, yeah, misfoxification. That's actually happened a couple times. Someone working in fast food has COVID, goes through all the staff, all the customers who then go give it to people they know. Yeah, it's a whole thing, and we're waiting for the next variant that's vaccine resistant. Yay! Oh, it's just like fucking world turned upside down or what? The chaos. It's so weird. Like I think back to um, uh, my youth when we all thought we were going to die in nuclear war. Still not impossible when you see the shit that people like Putin and Kim Jong Un keep saying. But it was much more real prior to the breakup of the Soviet Union. And of course, there was the AIDS epidemic back in the glorious 80s. But I never would have imagined, the pandemic for a start, the world's slide towards fascism, just the number of people who willfully disconnect themselves from reality and aggressively and proudly assert absolutely nonsensical viewpoints and demand to be taken seriously. There are so many fucking... I know I wouldn't have predicted the internet either, for that matter. But there are so many weird fucking things. And didn't really see climate change as a catastrophic possible existential threat to society as we know it. So yeah, it's fucking wild times. And yes, I agree, misfoxification. The age of information also resulted in an age of ignorance post-truth. It's ridiculous. Yeah, well, Salumi and Justin haven't had COVID. You are in the minority now. So, and I was doing my usual, just watching random videos on YouTube before coming on the stream tonight. And there's these cute animated sciencey philosophy videos on YouTube called Kyrgyzstan, German for in a nutshell. And I find their stuff quite entertaining. There was this one about, trying to look at your life from the outside and how much of it's over and this, and it's just like, I don't think it was meant to be depressing. It didn't depress me, but it was just kind of, it's a whole thing. So, just trying not to let the existential angst get to me. The creeping dread that is existent. Try to watch a bit more Gabba Mate because he's more positive about it. Justin, I think it's very much that you're a social hermit that stopped you from getting COVID. It is direct correlation between the number of people you interact with and the likelihood of you getting COVID. I mean, well, it's a virus that's transmitted from person to person. The only reason I got it is because young Mr. Angry is a social butterfly and goes out all the time. And he was out with someone who told him a couple of days later that they had it, and then he realized he was feeling sick. And after a couple of negative rats, because I could feel symptoms coming on. Oh no, actually, he, after getting I think 1 or 2 negatives. Then he got a positive, and I was like, okay. Then the day after he got the positive, I was feeling the same symptoms he felt in the lead up to that. It's like scratchy throat and whatnot. So then Mrs. Angry and I went and got up the schnoz tests, PCR tests. I came back positive. She came back negative. But okay, and this is the wild thing. So in the house at that point, there were 4 of us: my offspring, me, and Mrs. Angry. And so young Mr. Angry and myself test positive, young Ms. Angry, Mrs. Angry test negative. So we isolated, and it fucking worked. We're in the same house, but young Mr. Angry and I isolating in our rooms for a week. The other members of the house did not get the Rona. So, social distancing works. Yeah, and that is a wise choice, Miss Foxification. When the peaks go up, keep away from people. So we haven't had a cold since the mask mandates and lockdowns. I think I had a cold, like bordering on a year before I actually got COVID. So, as in, tested negative, and it was only pretty mild, but it's going. I love that, Megaleech. You're trying to pretend that was a typo, that you wear mask when you're hoeing out. Oh, no. We all know you're actually hoeing out. Yeah, I wear a mask in the supermarket, public transport. Still haven't been to the movies in a long time. In fact, the last thing I saw at the movies was Dune. Because that being in a smallish room with recirculated air with other people, no. So any close contact stupid ex didn't tell you. Well, yeah, that happens. Justin, you had 2 close calls. Brendan went out with tested positive. Another one got it. Yeah, those are close calls. Those are very close contacts. But yeah, there's an element of dice roll in anything like this. Some people can be in a car crash where the car flips multiple times and is absolutely totaled, and they come through with minor injuries. I literally know someone where the person next to him it was a full car, nasty crash. The person next to him was killed, and he had only minor injuries. The fucking universe is a dice roll, man. Like, what is? I think as Einstein was quoted as saying, "God doesn't play dice with the universe." To which I just go, I beg to differ. The number of dice rolls that we all deal with every fucking day, but it's like Dungeons and Dragons. There are modifiers. Modifiers for strength and dexterity and wisdom. You can take steps to reduce the chance of a critical fail, but there are no guarantees in this world. Nice. Salumi. Got your ticket to the kink party. Ooh, an electro wand. Okay, it's a kink party. Oh my god, that reminded me. I was looking up birthdays, and his birthday, this guy, Canadian, who is a creator of BME magazine. He was seriously into body modifications, and anyone who has memories of the early internet might have memories of a video called the BME Pain Olympics. This guy featured prominently in. that kind of goes beyond kink. But anyway. So, misfoxification. A few days ago, police put a woman in the back of their SUV in the US, parked the car on train track. I saw that. Yes. How much do those cops suck? Yeah, it's funny again, Justin. I'm old enough to remember when all the cars were steel, and so impacts were so much worse. So when the first cars that came out, like the original Holden Commodore, with body panels that we kind of regarded as plastic because they were so much more fragile than the old steel cars, but they were fragile for a reason. Crumple zones and stuff, the cars get totaled. They're designed to absorb impact. And so when the shock hits the soft, squishy people, it's not as bad. Because, yeah, with the old steel cars, when they hit something, the impact, there's like no absorption of the impact at all, and it just would hit the soft, squishy occupants full on. So the YouTube video, you hear the train, she's screaming, they ignore her until the lights come. God damn. So, Sulimi, regarding the Albert Einstein quote, you like the Terry Pratchett version. God does not play dice with the universe. He plays an ineffable game of his own devising, which might be compared from the perspective of any of the other players, i.e. everybody, to being involved in an obscure and complex variant of poker in a pitch dark room with blank cards for infinite stakes, with a dealer who won't tell you the rules and who smiles all the time. Terry Pratchett had a wonderful way with words. Sorry, just think about Terry Pratchett writing jokes about gambling. I think it was Trolls. Which was his race? The sort of big stupid ones. It's Trolls, I think. And he's saying troll gambling is even simpler than Australian gambling. They have a game called One Up, where they throw a rock in the air and take bets on whether or not it'll come down. You're rereading Discworld. Yes, I think dating myself. The first one, The Color of Magic, came out when I was at uni, I think, and or the Dungeons and Dragons, because I was in the Dungeons and Dragons club because I was a fucking nerd. Was still am. Yeah, and these guys were raving about this book, The Color of Magic. They loved it, and I eventually read it. And I liked it too. Justin, you met someone who crashed cars for a living. Oh, yeah, no, the people who do the sort of critical fail tests on cars. Like, obviously, the really severe crashes are done with crash test dummies, not people. But yeah, there is a bunch of stuff that people do. My favorite was the story of testing European cars to breaking point on Australian roads, starting like up in the tropical north and driving non-stop for actually, I'm going to work it out. I'll do a travel thing. Get maps, and we say let's say they started in Rockhampton and end up in Thredbo. Driving. So the idea is they drive a car from the tropical north. Basically, they drive over 2,000 kilometers non-stop, starting off in very hot territory. But of course, the engine's going to be very hot anyway from driving for that long. Uh, and then they drive up the snowy mountains to sub-zero temperatures with this really overheated engine. And you ever heard that thing? Hot metal things make a ticking noise. There's the contractions in it, and some of the vehicles they like drive up to the snowfields and then stop and turn the engine off, and the sudden cold on the engine, you hear ticking from the engine block, and sometimes the engine block would crack because the sub-zero temperatures after it had been so hot were too much, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this car's not going to work in Australia. Yes, Silmy, I also agree. The world building, and yeah, and he obviously grows. Yes, as you say, as an author, I did love that, particularly as he went on. He's exploring some quite serious ideas. Like the first ones, he was just having fun. He was just having fun with the tropes of fantasy and whatnot. But then he used that setting to explore really serious ideas in a comedic way, which was great. Ms. Fox is testing cars in Alice Springs and surrounds. maybe one of the things they're testing is how easy it is for the car to get stolen. And hey, Safa. But yes, one. Particularly the European cars, they do like to do very punishing testing in very hot environments to see if the engine overheats. But yeah, test drivers, particularly for luxury brands, they're a breed apart. They do absolutely wild shit when they're testing the cars. And yes, they are like freakishly good drivers because they just do just absolutely wild shit when they're testing the cars. Where were you driving, Safa? To Bright for football. Yeah, so we're just getting rain all through spring and maybe summer. Although this weekend looks okay. And in my exciting world, that means hanging the washing on the line because, woo, it's going to dry. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I remember someone who had never read any Discworld deriding Terry Pratchett as like flogging a dead horse because he keeps churning out these books about the fantasy world. How much can there be to say about that fantasy world? It's like, well, you've never read them, so you don't know what you're talking about because he's not writing about a fantasy world. He was originally, but for quite a while, he's been writing about our world. And he's just been using this prism of this comedic fantasy world to examine stuff about our world. And yes, Salumi, I agree. Best fantasy has some connection to reality. That's why stuff works very well. So for everything they announced with changes to COVID is too early. The getting rid of isolation rules and what, it's just, it is a fucking disaster waiting to happen. It's Russian roulette with 3 bullets in the chambers. It's just like a potential nightmare. Yeah, I mean, it was almost inevitable. And it's fucking New South Wales, man. Just this denial of reality and fucking us all. And I don't mean the state of New South Wales or the people of New South Wales. I mean the government of New South Wales. And hi, Robot Man Greg and Heine. Hello, hello, hello. And yes, Miss Foxification. I have also read those reports that the latest variant they've discovered is very immune response resistant, whether it's natural or vaccine. Doesn't bode well. Oh my God. I think, Jesus, collectively the world couldn't take it if we got sent back to square one. Ugh. I don't really, and this is possibly a stupid attitude, but I don't really want to spend that much time thinking about it, quite honestly. It is. Oof. Yep, it's just creepy. It is disturbing, and I don't like it. No, sir. Okay, that was an obscure reference, and I did it really badly, so I bet no one would get it. It's from Ren and Stimpy from back in the 90s. I think it was a horse that said that, like, I don't like it. No, sir. Uh, I'm just looking up. Yeah, it was a horse. No, sir, I don't like it. Yeah, so now we're talking about new viruses. And yes, that is a thing that could happen without fucking warning, basically. So, yeah, it's been weird. Like, since the 90s, and they've usually been variants of avian flus that had those in the know super fucking paranoid. Uh, and up until COVID, they came to nothing. And, well, not nothing, they killed people, but didn't turn into a global pandemic. And you just had these tickets go, why were they carrying on? It didn't happen. It didn't carry on because a lot of people, well, partly from luck and partly from a lot of people did a lot of work to stop it spreading. And then what everyone had been worrying about for decades finally happened. And what happened? We still get fuckwits who insist it's not happening. And it's like, oh, I don't hold out much hope for us if something effectively puts us back to square one. I mean, I am in a tiny privileged group that would be able to continue working from home. But hey, Sus. No. Okay, I'm actually going to change the topic because I'm just going to go down a rabbit hole of depression if I keep talking about this. I want to talk about something more fun. What's something more fun? I've been watching Resident Alien on Channel 9's streaming service. I don't watch commercial broadcast TV, so getting their ads for the first time in forever is fucking jarring. Like, oh my God, the ads suck so much. With the water. I'm the visual water dispenser, and you'll get some peeing ASMR. Some people would pay good money for this. I always complain this takes some time, but it's probably good that it doesn't flow any faster than that, or it would go everywhere. You know, like you ever get that thing where you turn a tap up in the sink too hard and it just sprays back. Of course, this classification of the bat virus, known as Sarbeca virus. Great, fantastic. Yes, Greg, I agree. Resident Alien, fun show. Just about worth putting up with Channel 9's ads. Every now and then it sort of, I don't know, misses the mark or goes... Ain't no party like an Angrosi party, because an Angrosi party is debaucherously pervert and stops around 2 a.m. Yeah, that's usually the latest I'll go. No, Safa, we should not attempt to exterminate anything. It isn't the bat's fault or the pig's fault or the chicken's fault if the way we have set up our society leaves us vulnerable to these types of diseases. We should change the way our society is set up. But we are so subject to short-term thinking. It's, yeah. And of course, the discourse and lawmaking is captured by horrible people. So it won't let you send Dr. Abigail a heart. Well, I saw 3 hearts from you up there. Oh dear. Yes, hello friend to you too. Yeah. So, oh, and also things I've been watching. The first 3 episodes of the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus, the Rogue One prequel, Andor. That's like the origin story for Cassian Andor, how he got involved in the rebellion. Pretty fucking good so far. Really nice bit of world building and doing so far what Rogue One did so well, telling a Star Wars story from the point of view of the little people, the people in the trenches, literally it being war. Because as much as I love the Star Wars stories, they're all epic hero journey stuff, big flashy highlight stuff. And yes, for every one person involved in epic stuff in a war, there's thousands of people down in the mud. And they're doing it very well. So Megalicious 4th episode, yes. Probably won't watch that till Sunday night with Mrs. Angry. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow night. I don't know. So Dr. Abigail got the warm fuzzies from attempted hearts. Nice. Did we have this conversation before, Silemi? Heading to a kink event and don't know what to wear? Feel like that question almost answers itself, really. Suffered with does Andor not like sand? There's not a lot of sand where Andor is. He's been having a bit of a rough life. And it's like the first 3 episodes, because Disney released 3 episodes at once, and then it's one a week after that. I feel like, and those first 3 were the world building and setup. Yeah, of course, I'm not doing spoilers, Arthur. So I think those first 3 were like world building and setup. But just from the trailers I saw, I think there's like a shit ton of action in the rest of the season. Be interesting to see. Heading to a female NB kink event next Thursday. Clothing optional. There you go. Well, so yes, I remember you did drop in to say hi before crashing. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you for the kink event. See, Miss Phosphorification knows what's going out. Yeah, if all else fails, go body paint. See? That's a practical solution. All right, I finished my energy drink. The thing is working. I'm feeling agitated. All right, I had my glass out earlier because I was all set to start the evening with an alcoholic beverage. I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to have an energy drink. I'll ease into it. I'm going to try not to have any memory lapses like what happened last week. Don't know that we're seeing AZ tonight. I, in fact, have had no communique from him since the last live stream he was on. But AZ being AZ, he could pop up at any moment. All right, big cube of ice from the big ice cube tray. Okay. Right. I'm going to get a cocktail pick because I'm going to give myself a nice garnish because I'm special and deserve a treat. Okay. Gonna have some of my clarified cocktail. No, Justin, AZ hasn't had COVID yet. You know, then again, he doesn't get out much either. All right. Got to give myself a garnish because I want to be fancy. I'm a fancy man. Oh, yeah. Some of those nice citrus oils on there. So we were talking about electro wands. I'm just thinking of some sort of Harry Potter tie-in there. What the spell would be. I've got to come up with some variant of it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Yes, Heine, Putin is being a cunt. Absolutely. The wand is trans-friendly. Yes. Sorry, it took me a second to get that. Because, yes, of course, we don't want to talk about the Queen turf. But, of course, because, the whole Harry Potter thing did make such an impact on the culture over the last, was it 20 years? Um, so 97, so 25 years. Hot damn. So that's been a very big part of the culture for 25 years. That's a lot. Hey, Black Metal Heart. So, should you renounce your Russian citizenship? I guess the question is, does it mean anything? And does it mean anything? Yes, Miss Foxification. I did hear about a new book that she writes under that pseudonym. And yes, it's just fucking pathetic, nasty, transphobic, I'm the victim bullshit. She's fucked. Justin, you mean the Queen's death certificate? And she died of old age. Who knew? How are you tonight, Black Metal Heart? Cheers, y'all. God damn, that's good. Yeah, okay. Let's get this party started. Yeah. Oh, dear. You know what? I'm talking to someone about getting some appropriate medicinal herbs to expand my consciousness. Yeah, Justin, there are all these weird rules with the Queen about when her death was going to be formally announced. Justin, there absolutely is a thing of dying of old age. Yes, some part of your body packs it in finally, but in generally accepted terms, if you don't have a specific illness that kills you, but it's just the degradation of your body generally, it's called dying of old age. You know, it's like you can argue every person in history has died of exactly the same thing, and namely, that's lack of oxygen to the brain. Now, there have been a million different reasons why people weren't getting oxygen to the brain anymore, including, you know, having their brains blown out. But technically, what kills you is when your brain dies because it's not getting oxygen. So, if you want to go in for pedantry, there are all manner of things you can say. It's just in. Sorry, it just popped into my head the line from Futurama where you found out about the bureaucracy where Hermes had been trained. And then the boss goes, "Bureaucrat Hermes, you are technically correct. The best sort of correct." And I absolutely empathize with Foxification. You're getting away from Optus. There's been some pretty strong words about them said from the government, like not just general platitudes of we've all got to be careful. It's like, this is Optus's fault. They fucked up. I personally found that quite interesting. And also, just because I work in cybersecurity, we're all just saying, the security team is just like, you know what? If anyone fucks with us when we say, well, you've got to do this, and they're like, I don't wanna go Optus, okay? You want that? Is that what you want? Black Metal Heart. Yes. They seem to have failed on some kind of basic steps they should have taken. This oxidation, we said that they're more for our privacy. What do you mean? Just that it's made people aware of it? See, Justin, that's a many-layered question. Not least is the concept of forever is an abstraction. And also, I mean, you can pull that apart. Like those old monkey paw wishes. The whole idea is like, or even, the traditional stories of the genies that try to fuck you over with a wish. It's, technically granting your wish, but fucking you over somehow. So, live forever. What does that even mean? Does that mean living robustly? Does that mean spending eons in agony and being unable to die? That's not a simple question. There's not a simple yes/no answer, because there's so many things it could mean. As I said, do you degenerate? Are you in perfect health the whole time? Again, forever is not a real thing. It's an abstract concept. Oh God, Black Metal Heart. I don't think I remember I remember the existence of the Wishmaster movies. I don't think I remember in details. Heine, two-factor authentication is the absolute minimum you should do on anything. Trust me, it's in a perfect world, there'd be three-factor authentication on everything, and that would be, in simple terms, it's something you know, something you have, something you are, and that's a combination of a password, something you know, a token, or your phone for two-factor authentication, something you have, and third, something you are. So some form of biometrics. It is true that SMS is really insecure. But two-factor authentication through SMS is better than nothing. And yes, Dr. Abigail, I'm a wish killjoy. It's kind of like one of the old stories in the Sandman comic. This guy who I think it starts in the 1300s. A long time ago anyway, Dream and his sister Death are in a tavern, and they overhear this guy saying he's decided not to die because dying's a mug's game. And Dream says to Death, I want to find out what happens if he really gets that wish of not dying. And she says, okay. And so Dream says to you, I want to know what it's like. I'll meet you back here in 100 years. And they meet each other every 100 years. And the guy's fortunes go up and down. Dream keeps expecting him to tire of living and to want to die. Oh, misfoxification. You hardcore on the authentication. Use FIDO or something like YubiKey. Look, I get where you're coming from saying Google and Microsoft being spyware, because They are data hoarding companies, absolutely. There are also very practical limitations we are subjected to just to exist and interact in the world. In a significant number of cases, our only option for authentication is SMS one-time codes. Again, not that secure, more secure than not doing it. And yes, I wouldn't really argue with you about Google and Microsoft being, sort of data siphoning companies, but there are so many cases where we don't have a choice to get authenticated and some stuff you have to use those. We live in a flawed and fallible world. Justin, do I remember how FP teamed up with FBI to make some special phones? I know various law enforcements around the world have done a whole bunch of stings in the past by giving things to criminals. Criminals aren't really that smart. So misfoxification password manager can use those things, and you have YubiKeys. And we're using a long and unique password. Yeah, I should use a password manager, and I don't. But of course, the password managers are very desirable targets for hackers, and they are constantly under threat. And there have been breaches in password managers. And I suspect a lot of the companies that have had breaches are not completely trustworthy when they go, "Oh, it wasn't a bad breach. Don't you worry about that." It's like, is that really? Should I trust you on that? So I don't know. It's what I'm saying. It's complex. The world is complex, and we have to deal with the shortcomings of the world. Okay, so you have an offline password manager. You seem very serious with security, which is good. So I just remember the joke of I don't have any smart devices in my home. The things that are always listening to you, aka spying on you, or an internet-enabled doorbell video. There are obvious pluses, though. So there are things that are useful and handy. It's just they are security nightmares, and I don't have them. I saw a joke, just ordinary person talking about their Roomba and their Ring doorbell and their Alexa and the smart lights and all these sorts of things. And it's awesome. I have all these smart devices in my house. Then an IT security person says, "I have no smart devices in my house. The smartest thing is a toaster, and I have a gun just in case the toaster starts acting weird." So I thought, that's a big question. Why do dictatorships exist? It sounds like I've told this story before. My daughter, when she's very young, and she's very smart and precocious, and she asked, "Why do wars happen? That's stupid. It's just," and she rightly said, on the face of it, war is stupid. Why would people go off to be killed in their millions? But I said, well, okay, the way I explained it, and this works for dictators too. When you have a bully at school, and they're mean and they push people around, most of the time you just want to stay away from them. And you figure if I can stay out of their way, everything will be fine. But sometimes they won't let you do that. And sometimes they keep doing worse and worse things. And you keep not reacting to it because you don't want to get into a fight. But then they keep doing worse and worse things until it gets to the point you have to stop them. And she goes, yeah, I understand that. And I go, well, sometimes countries are like that. It's just, there are people who will do homicidally evil things because they can. And, it's along the lines, what was it, Nietzsche, with if you look into the void looks into you? It's like if you fight against a dictator, you may end up being a dictator yourself. So all the answers to misclassification. Use a Home Assistant, run your own smart network, no cloud. Yeah, but everyone just takes the easy route and has these things cloud connected. Yeah, someone has a Google Smart Home. Yeah, the creeps. There is a really funny website. So actually, I'll see maybe what the latest is. It was called the Internet of Shit. Because there's the buzzword. It's the Internet of Things. So they've got 500,000 followers on Twitter. Oh yeah, there's just like smart TVs shutting down. So, Google Nest just stops working. Holy shit! I have to share this. This is insane. Let me see it. Share screen. Not sure if this will be big enough. This is one of those smart billboards. If you can't see it, it was like a smart billboard that had the death of the Queen on it, and that Windows blue thing. It actually says, "Let's cross this one off your list." So I think Mimsy's at the door. I fucking left the door open, and then someone's closed it. So now I get noises of Mimsy trying to get in. There you are, you annoying shit of a cat. So yes, that's an unfortunate Windows fail. Over a picture of the Queen. Let's cross this one off your list. Oh dear. Oh Jesus Christ! Get fucked, Twitter. Twitter won't actually let me browse without being logged in. Jesus Christ. Fucking obnoxious companies. Also, yes. Saying where the product is the whole thing. If you're getting something for free and you can't work out how the person providing it's making any money, they're selling you. Which, yeah, it's not a completely accurate statement, but it gets it because we are paying for internet things with advertising. But yeah, when they do the data mining and whatnot, that's effectively making us the product. Ooh, that actually reminds me. It's a thing I'd like to share that I did today. I was out and there was this absurdly large group of pigeons, and I mean like dozens of friggin' pigeons. And they're all in a space, and I thought, I'm going to walk through them, and I've got my phone with the slow-mo feature, and I'm going to get a cool slow-mo video. God damn. Here, I'll just share it quickly. Let's see if we do this. All right. Look at this. That's not all the pigeons, by the way. I'd already walked through some of them. Oh, it's got weird sound because slow-mo. But what's wild to me about this, when I look at this video, it's so sharp-edged and the slow-mo's caught the pigeons in such weird poses. I think a lot of the time they don't look real. They looks computer generated to me sometimes. So yeah. Yes, Miss Foxification. It was Attack of the Pigeons. What did you miss? Oh, just still talking about security stuff, but yes, Black Metal Heart. The simulation's failing. It was a bit weird. And I'm with you, Birds of Spies for the Bourgeoisie. But yeah, no, because I was they were right next to a train station, and it's the largest cluster of pigeons I can remember seeing. There were dozens of them, and they were just all in this bit of greenery. And I thought, yeah, it was a premeditated thing. I just walked through them with the phone in slow-mo video mode, and they are just not scared of humans. I walked through a lot of them, and they just stepped around me. But it's the old thing. It just took one of them to take off and start flying, and then they all did. And they were they were this close. So half the time when they were flying out, they were like this close to me. They're just flying around my head. It was a very weird experience. Justin, herd kangaroos don't tend to sit on roads. They will occasionally jump across roads with very poor timing. I've certainly seen the results of that. Growing up in the country, yeah, you don't want to be cruising along at highway speed and have kangaroos on the road because they have a fair amount of mass. And if you hit them, they will fucking total a car. And of course, one of the really bad things is a lot of people reflexively swerve. You don't. If you're at highway speed, you don't swerve. Brake as hard as you can, and it probably still won't work, but you are better off hitting the kangaroo dead on than swerving, because swerving, you lose control. If you hit the kangaroo side on, that's way worse. You don't even have to hit the kangaroo, just go off the road, roll. It's a reflex a lot of people have, but it's a bad reflex to swerve on a highway because so easy to lose control. Fucking crash your car. So I am thinking, because it's Friday night, party and I have fun, and I got some new rums, and I made some cream of coconut the other day. Make a pina colada, but not with white rum. Pineapple and lime. Puerto Rican style. Pineapple, lime. Hey, what does Fussy Difford do with his? Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm going to do the Puerto Rican style. Rum, pineapple juice, cream of coconut. Except I'm doing way more cream of coconut than that. Fuck that. All right. I'm not going to use white rum either. Safa, most people in the country have bad experience with kangaroos on roads. The closest I came to being in a car that hit one was outside of Dubbo. I was young, I was a passenger, and we're going down the highway, and there were these kangaroos on the roadside, and just as the sort of body of traffic we were in approached, they stupidly started bounding across the road, and we were like, oh, and we just missed one. I think a car coming in the opposite direction clipped one, but then there was a fucking truck just thundering along, and yeah, we just saw one kangaroo sort of go in front of the truck, and the kangaroo did not come out the other side. Pretty gosh darn serious impact. A truck doing 100 plus kilometers an hour hitting a kangaroo. Not a whole lot of the kangaroo left in a scenario like that. So yeah, pretty distressing as a witness to it. And it's distressing for the double thing. First, just actually seeing the kangaroo get wiped out, but second, with how close it came to hitting our car as well. Very disturbing stuff. Well, Justin, of course you see kangaroos in Canberra. Canberra is just a big country town. So, we used to get them occasionally on the campus in Bathurst, where Aidsy and I went to college. There's a fun bit I've done YouTube videos on the Great Ocean Road. It's down with a golf course, but particularly around dusk, the golf course just gets covered in kangaroos. Fun times. I think I am going to make a pina colada. Right, what do I need? I need my jigger for a start. And I got to decide. Yeah, no, I think I know what I'm going to do. So is that Heine? You hit a kangaroo. You did swerve, scrape inside the car rather than the big hit. Well, that's the thing. Most people panic. And most people, when I say swerve, you might have just done that. Most people do this thing where they hook the steering wheel. And at speed, that has a disturbingly high chance of being a critical mistake. Dr. Abigail, I do, but I don't like getting caught in the rain. And I possibly have half a brain, as the song says, but misfoxication. Slow down. See, slowing down is good. It decided to hop down the road following. Oh dear. Yeah. But apparently I had it explained, and I'm not sure this was coming from an expert, so I'm not sure it's right. With a lot of animals, like, in Europe and North America, they have the problem with deer on the roads. This explanation with a lot of these animals, It's a predator evasion thing. They stay still, and when the predator's at a critical distance, they just really suddenly jag off. And it's just, they're not good at estimating the speed of cars. They think the car's like another animal, and they misjudge the point at which they cut off at 90 degrees, and so they get taken out by the vehicle. All right. So I'm going to get my jigger from over here. Okay. That's the other thing. I knew I wanted something else here. I want a spoon. I'm going to crack some ice. Okay. I'm going to get my cocktail shaker and my cocktail glass. Into a tiki goblet. The happy face, the angry face. I'm not sure if that comes up. It's like cut glass. Face on. What did you do there? This is not a mirror. So it's like one side angry face, other side smiling face. Not sure how well the webcam's picking that up, but it's pretty cool little goblet, this. So, yeah, and that is absolutely what they do, Miss Foxification. Go along the side of the road and then suddenly dart. In their mind, it's an evasion technique, but they judge the speed of the car really badly. Is this going to be a real thing or some sort of joke, Justin? How do they keep animals away from airports? Never know. Is this going to be a dad joke or is this going to be I was going to break up a bigger bit of ice, but I'll just use this ice. Why did I put it in there? All right. Now, ingredients. So we want to get lime juice, pineapple juice, and cream of coconut. Right. Cream of coconut. So much pineapple juice I've got there. And my favourite is the Archie Rose of the new runs. All right. So we do cream of coconut first because it's really thick. And man, that is really thick, actually. Putting heaps of coconut in there. Clear the area of vegetation so birds don't go there. That makes sense. Because you really don't want birds around airports. All right. Rum. Rum titty tum tum. Was this like 50% as well or something? 52%. So that's pretty serious. Lime. And pineapple. Okay, no point keeping that little bit. We'll do that. All right. Now I'm going to do the thing. Actually, I need to get a straw. So I'm going to do the thing where I preserve people's hearing in case you're wearing headphones. I'm going to turn the microphone off for 15 seconds while I shake this. Okay, shaker, painfully cold to hold. Do a dirty dump. Oof. And I don't have any short straws, so I've got this far too long plastic straw. Some useful suggestion: drive around with noisemakers, play sounds of distressed birds. Still don't move your starters pistols. That's what they do at Heathrow. Oh, Justin, they test jet engines. They throw frozen chickens into them. The engine's meant to withstand having a frozen chicken hit it. Okay, well, this straw is clearly ridiculous. Man, that's good. God damn, that's good. You reckon it's defrosted chickens, Dr. Abigail? Sure, I read it was frozen chickens. But, yeah. Still a weird job. What do you do for work? I throw chickens into jet engines. You know, someone's got to do it, I suppose. I don't know if they do an aptitude test for that at school, doing career day at school, and they come back with, I think you'd be really good at throwing chickens into jet engines. Yes, Dr. Abigail, I know birds aren't frozen when they're flying. That's the idea. A frozen one is going to make a harsher impact than an unfrozen one. So if you are doing proper safety testing, you should be testing considerably beyond the stresses you expect in the real world. There's a story where one company was told to test their engine with chickens, and the company complained they kept getting damaged. Rumor has it they didn't defrost them when they should have. Well, that's a weird one, Justin. Women in China threw coins into a jet engine for good luck. Okay, now I'm just going to look it up. Frozen chickens jet engine test. Okay, here's one story. How plane safety is tested with frozen chicken fired from a bird gun. Spokesperson for British Airline Pilots Association says it's done with a bird gun. Birds are fired at a plane to make sure it can withstand an actual bird strike. Test is done for both windshields and engines. Author Simon Winchester explained in his book Leviathans of the Sky that bird guns fired 8 thawed 24-ounce chickens. Oh, fired 8 chickens in less than a second. That's a semi-automatic bird gun right there. More recent years, the American Air Force has been using clay and plastic birds, as it is sensitive to animal rights protesters. So that doesn't actually mention frozen chickens. Oh, wait, that was news. What the fuck? I want general search. Frozen chicken jet engine. Now there are videos. chicken gun on Wikipedia. The chicken gun myth on Mythbusters. Frozen chicken launched and bird strike simulation can penetrate aircraft better than a thawed chicken. Verdict was busted and later overturned. After building a large air gun, the Mythbusters fired chickens at a fuselage portion, metal plate viewed, high-speed camera. Originally, impact time or force transfer is the same from frozen and thawed chickens. This test was not conducted using airline qualified glass rated for bird strike, which has thicker consistency than normal glass. Verdict was later overturned in the Myths Revisited episode. Original myth involved the British borrowing a gun for testing windshields. Shocked and confused at the amount of carnage it did, when they asked the Americans what they were doing wrong, they told them to thaw the chickens before firing. Chickens, eh? I don't know, what's the point of using frozen anything to test jet engines? You're not sucking up huge blocks of ice was flying. You say that, but what if Mr. Freeze is out there? Sorry, birds swallow stones to aid digestion. That presents a huge problem. Yeah. Sorry, this is just also making me think of bloody Far Side comic, where it's like in the background is like a plane has crashed and there's all fire. In the foreground, there's a news team, but the news team are all birds, and the bird reporter saying to the camera, going, "Details are sketchy so far, but we believe the bird's name was Ralph Smith." Ooh, wow, that's disturbing. This foxification. Humans being ingested into a jet engine. Pink mist. Yeah, not a good time. Humans learning physics lessons the hard way. Ugh. Humans, we're ridiculous. You know, how many people, their famous last words have been, "Watch this." Oh dear. So, okay, I drank that way too fast. I'm going to drink some water after this. In fact, just from the volume I've been drinking first hour and a half, I might have a wee break. Finish my pina colada, though. Which apparently just translates as strained pineapple. Well, yes. When someone says that, it's the bystanders who learn a lesson. Victim learns if there's an afterlife. Yes. Oh, God, Salumi. Well, I used to go out with a nurse, and when the nurses got together, they couldn't help themselves. The conversation was just, they were trying to one-up each other with gross stories. And you don't have to work in nursing very long to get very gross stories. Just a cavalcade. And this one's not actually gross, but did my head in. Some people drive with their arm hanging out the window, and like their arm down the side of the car. Like, it's not just the elbow, it's the arm hanging out. You don't see it that often, but you used to see it in the country. Also, I'm too short. That just wouldn't be comfortable for me. Taller people than me may find it comfortable. But yeah, no, my girlfriend at the time, she gleefully reported one day they had someone come in with their arm missing, and it's because they'd been driving with their arm hanging out the window, and they got sideswiped, and it just fucking tore their arm off. Their arm came in a bit later, actually, because of course when they got sideswiped and their arm ripped off, the person went in shock and crashed. Their arm didn't come in straight away. Their arm came in later. But yes. And yes, Justin AZ has super gross stories. Oh, yeah. No, firefighters will also have bad stories. Oh, yeah. AMBOs. Yes. AMBOs and nurses. My brother is an AMBO's paramedic now. But yeah, when he was training back in the day, all New South Wales ambulance drivers were trained in Sydney. He still lives in Bathurst. Wanted to work in the country, but you trained in Sydney because you got so many more calls in Sydney than in a country town. Country town, the calls to ambulances tend to be more extreme. There are far fewer of them, but there's a far greater likelihood of quite an extreme circumstance, whereas in Sydney, you're just non-stop on calls. And he used to, when he was telling stories about shit they saw, he was just like a stand-up comedian. Some people would say it's a coping mechanism for seeing terrible things, but he would just be like telling a story, and it would just be hilarious. And it's like awful. It's about accidents. It's about people cutting themselves. It's about burns. It's about people overdosing. And it would just be like a comedy routine when he was saying it. Oh God, we're getting into gross here. Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, isn't degloving a great word? Yes, people on motorbikes who don't wear protective gear. If, yes. Oh, this is my fault. I think I started this, didn't I? It's a real bad thing. Justin, your mum was a nurse, had a person come in with an axe lodged in their skull. Yeah, fucking, you work in, if you're a first responder, you will get fucking everything happen at one point. It's just the number of things humans manage to do. Okay, and you get all the joke stories about someone coming into the hospital with something lodged up their ass, and they feel the urge to tell some elaborate story about how it accidentally got lodged up their ass. This ex of mine, she was actually from Wagga Wagga. I met her in Sydney, but she's from Wagga Wagga, and she did her training at the uni in Wagga Wagga, and so she did her first placements in the hospital in Wagga Wagga, and she was doing a placement with a friend, and a dude they knew came in, and he had like a cucumber lodged in his ass. He couldn't get it out, even though there was a bit sticking out, and they were trying to keep a straight face because it was someone they knew came in with a cucumber lodged up his ass, and they could not keep a straight face, and they were in hysterics, and he's saying, stop laughing, just stop laughing. And they were like, we are really trying. He's going, and he eventually got annoyed with him and said, I'll go somewhere else. And like he was going to go to the next town, drive to the next town. And they're saying apparently he did, and they couldn't work out how, because he was by himself and the next town was a half-hour drive away, and this thing was sticking out of his ass. How the hell did he drive for half an hour with this cucumber sticking out of his ass? But yeah. You need to be honest with the medical staff if something's stuck up your butt, because it happens. They've seen it all. That it's pointless making anything up. Yes, if it doesn't have a flared base. Well, see, in this guy's case, the thing hadn't disappeared all the way up there. Like a bit of it was still sticking out, but I don't know. Some reflex, his sphincter had tightened and he couldn't loosen. I think what they were saying, what they eventually would have done was inject him with a muscle relaxant, so like a mild sedative, so that his butt would relax and they could get it out. But that's what they were going to do, but they were laughing too much, which they felt really bad about because yes, we should have been professional. And if it was someone we didn't know, we would have been professional. But it was someone we knew and it was just too funny. Okay, Justin, I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube. I wasn't aware of that one. That's pretty funny, putting stuff up a guy's butt and having him guess what it is. That's pretty interesting. Yes, no, you are spot on, Salumi. Flared base. Doing anything up your butt that doesn't have a flared base, or actually in your vagina, if you have one, is a big mistake. Because there can be all sorts of complications, but at least the flared base is theoretically going to make it easier to get out. So, Safa, when did the cucumber happen? Oh, again, giving away my age, like 30 years ago. Oh, no, wait, it happened when she was younger. So 35 years ago? Oh, God. Okay. Brief reminder of I'm old. Now, if I want another reminder about how old I am, I'll stand up and walk around and my legs will protest. It's like, oh, that's right. I'm old. All right. So, actually, that wasn't too bad. For some reason, I thought, I like to put a few cans of recycling. I'm going to move these things out of the way because I've finished my pina colada. Let's do this. Let's out the sugar. Because that cream of coconut can really clag it up. All right. You know what I'm going to do for you lucky people? I'm actually going to take a toilet break. I am going to play you my most recent cocktail video. Yes, Salumi. I think you're flattering me by saying I'm closer to your dad's age. I'm way closer to your dad's age than I am to yours. Oh, God, misfoxification. I fucked up my shoulder by sleeping like this to the extent I was in too much pain to sleep. I had to go to a physio for ages to get it fixed. So, yeah, no, I gave myself a horrible, painful injury by sleeping. Right, so speaking of, I don't know how it's allowed on YouTube. How am I allowed on YouTube? Let's bring up YouTube. This is just like a 4-minute video, which is enough time for me to go to the loo. It's just one of those silly pseudo cartoon things of me essentially talking to myself. Wait, where is it? Ah, there it is. All right, so. Yay, cocktail. I'll stop that. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the microphone. All right, so share the screen. How's that? Oh, yeah, that's there. I'll do it full screen and I'll be back in 4 minutes. G'day, cocktail lovers, and welcome to the Cocktail Dome, where we bring you play-by-play calls of great big cocktail action. And how are you today, Arch? Well, to be honest, a little bit worried, Chuck. What's got you so worried? Why were we asked to sign a liability waiver today? Well, I've been assured it's all strictly routine. A strictly routine thing that we've never been asked to do before. Well, all routine starts somewhere, Arch. That is a disturbingly cavalier approach to life. Well, let's see if Mr. RV can set your mind at ease
telling us what's happening today.
Thanks, Chuck. And I think Arch will actually enjoy today's experiment. That's why I had you sign the waiver, because it is, of course, a cocktail experiment. I'm just taking a classic cocktail and doing my version of it with an extremely non-traditional base spirit.
Right, there you go, Arch. Just a classic cocktail, but mixed up a little different. I'm still not sure I should be signing a life away.
But you did sign the waiver?
Yes.
Okay then. Well, here's what I was thinking. For no reason in particular, I was thinking, you know what, you know those tropical drinks with rum? Theoretically, they would work just as well if you made them with whiskey. And so I'm on a quest to experiment with some classic tropical cocktails that would normally have rum. And I'm going to try them with whiskey, keeping the juices that you'd normally get with the rum, but I'm going to make it with whiskey. When it comes down to it, most of the popular tropical drinks are just complicated sours. And who doesn't love a whiskey sour? So today's experiment is going to be a whiskey-based Mai Tai. I'm going to pretty much follow through the traditional Trader Vic's recipe for this. And the first thing in that is some aged rum. So I'm going to have some aged whiskey. This one specifically, an Australian whiskey from Bakery Hill. Most of the recipes I saw for the rum said a 6 to 10-year-old rum. This is right in the middle. It's limited edition. They call Blunderbuss. It was aged for 8 years. It's a little strong at 58% alcohol, but it's what's going in our shaker first. 2 ounces or 60 mils of aged whiskey. Next up is some orange curacao, and I'm going to add half an ounce or 15 mils of orange curacao to the shaker. We're also adding lime juice. You don't usually see that with whiskey, but that's in the traditional Mai Tai. So I made up some super juice a bit earlier, and we're going to add about 3/4 of an ounce, 22.5 mils of lime juice to our shaker. We're going to split the sweetener. First up, some orgeat. But one day I'll get around to making my own. This is store-bought. I'm going to put about 1/3 of an ounce or 10 mils of orgeat into our shaker. The final touch is some sugar syrup. I'm going to add about 1/4 of an ounce, 7.5 mils. That's like a bar spoon and a half if you just want to eyeball it. And that's the last thing that's going in our shaker. Not quite the last thing, of course. We're adding some ice, putting our shaker together, bang that in hard, give it a shake for about 10 seconds. I'm going to garnish it with a nice piece of mint. I would do the traditional lime as well, but I didn't have any lime on hand because I was making super juice yesterday. No limes here today. So to compensate, I'm putting in my favorite maraschino cherry on a skewer. And here is your whiskey-based Mai Tai.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. It's like markedly different. That's a really bold whiskey that's in there. You certainly wouldn't mistake that for rum, would you? It's nice, but very different characteristics. You know, I mean, this is not necessarily going to be for everyone, but it's all in the name of experiment. I mean, am I right, Arch? I feel like I can just about taste the char from the whiskey barrel. This is a real winner. You can't go past a new idea, because really, as we love to say here on the Cocktail Dome, life's too short to waste time on boring cocktails. Cheers!
There we go. Oh dear. So, yes, that's me playing with whiskey. So, lead the first one I actually thought of doing a sort of tropical rum drink, but making it with whiskey was actually a zombie. And I had all planned how I was going to do it. It's actually going to be a different format, or it's going to be like a, Dr. Frankenstein and Igor type thing, bringing life to a zombie. And I'm planning it all out. Then I thought, it's not that far till Halloween. I need to save that for Halloween. So I'll probably do that one the week before Halloween. So it's hopefully been there long enough to show up when people are searching around Halloween for a cocktail. Just for something different, I do a whiskey-based zombie. But I had the idea in my head and I wanted to do something. So I thought, what's another popular tropical rum drink. Mai Tai is probably the most popular. So I did a whiskey Mai Tai. Then someone said to me, "Oh no, that's basically in one of the classic recipe books. That recipe, but with whiskey." And I forget what it was called, but it has a name. But yeah, it is basically that recipe I did is a known recipe. Someone told me that. Well, there you go. I had no idea that was a legit recipe. I thought that was just me being a bit of a weirdo. But it turns out it's apparently a reasonably obvious idea. So, but that's all cool. I don't mind. So anyway, okay, what did someone say it was called? Oh, a honey, Honi, Honi. So yes, so that actually has a name when you make a Mai Tai with whiskey. That's called a Honi. And I didn't know that, but I learned it. I learned something new. And honestly, isn't that what life is all about? It's learning something new. So now I'm being responsible and pacing myself. So a Cappy blood orange soda. They make two versions. One is a clear one that has no sweetener and just a very light blood orange flavor, which is nice. This one, obviously not clear, and has sugar in it, I think, like most soft drinks. It's very tart, though. It's got a really nice tart blood orange flavor. So it's quite good. This is me just trying to be responsible because I did drink that pina colada pretty fast, and that is always the danger with pina coladas. And in fact, all the tropical drinks, because they tend to have so much fruit juice or cream of coconut in them, that you don't taste the alcohol and say, what a pleasant drink. Oh, it's gone. And then you go, I'll have another one of those. And so that was like a double shot of 52% rum in there. So that was 2.5 standard drinks, and I drank it fairly fast. So I need to pause and pace myself. Not that there's anyone else on the stream yet, but I did get a bit fighty last Friday night. So, maybe I'll be more responsible and less aggressive and threatening tonight. Unless, people like it that way. I don't know. You never really tell what the crowds want. So maybe I will get aggressive and fighty. I actually had an idea for a video for my cocktail channel. Now, a lot of people will refer to a common word is workhorse spirits. It's basically the not expensive spirits that you can use all the time in cocktails. And taking it further, you get some people who get very upset at the idea of using expensive spirits in a cocktail. That's not how you're meant to drink that whiskey. That's not how you're meant to drink that rum. That's not how you're meant to drink that tequila. And I'm like, fuck you. I actually want good ingredients in my cocktails. And so I don't have the little selection over here. I don't have any workhorse spirits there. I don't have any of the what they call it in the bars, the stuff they're going to use all the time. It's on the speed rail. I don't have any cheaper spirits there. It's like, you know what, man, I work a job, and the reason I work a job is so I can have some things in my life I like. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, most of that stuff is from independent distilleries. Even when it's not Australian, it's not super mainstream stuff. Some of it is. Like literally only a couple. I got a bottle of Jameson's Irish whiskey there. Jesus, that's about the most mainstream thing I've got. God, I sound like such a pathetic fucking hipster at the moment. But no, that is a simple statement of fact. Probably the most mainstream thing I've got over there is a stout edition Jameson's Irish whiskey. And that's Jameson's Irish whiskey that's been finished in a stout barrel. So barrel that previously had stout beer in it. So it's not the absolute standard Jameson's. It's your pretty standard Jameson's, but it's been finished in a stout barrel. So it's a little bit different. If I can think of a way to make this video without coming across as a total wanker, and I was thinking of doing it, being angry, kind of like with my angry Aussie persona, and just going on a rant, like, and what are my workhorse spirits here for making cocktails? And it's just going, and then I just bring out these one-off sort of releases where there's only a couple hundred bottles in existence. It's my workhorse because I want nice things in my life. Okay, is that all right with you? Oh yes, Dr. Abigail, definitely that special support. That's another reason I have a job. What did I see that on? Oh, that was actually on a show the other day. Some Under the Desk show, ridiculous. But anyway. I just love Dr. Abigail doing the innuendo. When she's so gay, that is so far removed from anything that would actually happen in real life. But what's life if you can't have a bit of fun and be silly, I say. I'm really torn. I was going to make a daiquiri with that rum, because that's a really good way to enjoy rum. I don't think it's that suited for a pina colada. There's certainly a nice pina colada, but as I was tasting it, I was going like, I really like that rum by itself. It's not coming into its own in a pina colada. In a daiquiri, I think it might, though. But I also have these gins, new gins I wanted to try. And I'm not going to drink. I'm trying real hard to be responsible tonight, even if I stay here for a long time, trying not to have any memory gaps for the evening. So what will I do? I don't know. I've got enough of the night, I think, to... Oh, maybe I should mix it up. I think I probably still will at some point have a daiquiri with that rum. But maybe I should make a martini with the coconut gin I got. Because I think that would be good. And then if I pace myself again, half an hour after that, I can make a daiquiri. Well, see, my misfoxication, I'm going light as in non-alcoholic at the moment. But I have actually, you know what? I got a new gin liqueur made with Tangelo, that with a soda or tonic would probably be really good as a much lighter drink. Might try that at some point. But we'll see. But yes, I'm interspersing with lighter things. Doesn't get much lighter than 0 alcohol. It's funny. Like I can spend a long time being relatively responsible with alcohol consumption, and then you get this occasional night, like last Friday, where I stayed conscious and cogent and coherent the whole time. I just didn't remember a bunch of it, and that's not good. That's not good. Like I watched the video back. I didn't act at any time like I was blacking out. I seemed to be there the whole time. It's just the next day I was going, I don't really remember those things happening. So that's never a good sign. Like I said, I think it's worse. It was about a year ago when I notoriously fell asleep, not on camera. I was decorous enough to not fall asleep on camera. I just at some point just went like, oh wow, I'm so out of it. And basically without any explanation, I left the stream because there were other people talking on the stream. I left the stream running and just wandered off into the next room and fell asleep on the lounge. Slept for 2 hours. I did this twice. I think it was like 2 weeks apart, the 2 times I did this. And woke up 2 hours later and heard voices. I went, what? And then I realized the stream was still going. And I sort of wandered out and go, oh my God, this is still going. This is ridiculous. Okay, switching it off. Those are indications that's like, I may have misjudged my alcohol intake tonight. So yes, however long I continue to learn this lesson, I seem to learn the lesson for about 6 months and then backslide a bit and then sort of go, oops, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. In my defense, I feel like it was a reaction to Aidsy's monologuing. What are you doing, Mimsy? Meow. Going to come up and say hello? Going to come up and say hi? Come up on your little tower? Is that what you're going to do? I don't have any food for you. She's sniffing the floor as if I'm like, you going to come up? Yeah, she's going to come up. Oh. All right, I got to adjust the camera so Mimsy can be on. Come on, come up here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come up here. There you go. Come up and say hello to everyone. Yes. Yes, you are. You weird skinny cat. She's on new medication now, which might help. And she might put some weight back on because she's freakishly skinny at the moment. It's really disturbing to pat down her back when you feel every bone in her spine and then her hips at the back. I prefer to sort of scratch her head. All right. Oh, no, she's turned her back on us. Fair enough. Be like that. Be like that. Oh, I'm going to rinse this glass out with a little bit of water. Do, 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 do. All right. Crunch up a bit of ice as well. Why not, indeed? Wait, I was looking at the news. Was there anything interesting in the news? Skull and bones found on Darwin Beach. Cool. dozens fear dead after Russian strike on civilian convoy. Yeah, well, fuck that. Was there any interesting news? Oh, yes. Pretending COVID's not existing. That's fucking awesome. That's not going to come back and bite us on the ass. We're going to be fine. We're going to be absolutely fine. Oh, we're talking about IT security before. Microsoft investigating 2 zero-day affecting Exchange server. That's not good. That's not good at all. Ooh, Australia Post hiring 6,000 people over Christmas. No experience necessary. There you go. Oh man, this is a friggin' awesome headline. Okay, I'm going to have to go into this. Can alcoholic spirits made from cow's milk benefit Western Australia's struggling dairy industry? Can't hurt. Spirits made from whey. I did, when Mrs. Angry and I were recently in the Yarra Valley, we went to Four Pillars. There was another smaller distillery that made their vodka and gin from sheep's whey, I think, but it was whey, definitely. Rays, what's up? How you doing? That was a bit of news, actually, Dr. Abigail. Coolio dying. Yes. Yeah, it's just like the thing about people isolating if they have COVID being mandatory, dropping that, it makes no sense at all. It's a political and short-term economic decision. From a health, public safety point of view, it's a terrible decision. So you got a cheese and gin maker making a whey-based spirit. Yeah, whey has a bunch of uses, actually. Okay, so it's gotten boring. Here's a good one. We have no obvious waste product. Australian rum distillery feeding nutritious leftovers to cattle. So drunk cattle, I guess. Sunshine Coast Distillery using local sugarcane, pineapples, and tropical fruit to create rum, using Australia's only certified organic molasses. Leftovers from the distillation process, the dunder, as it's known, is fed to eager cattle. Eager, alcohol-dependent cattle. There you go. Actually, Australian distillers are very good at sustainability. Yeah, that's the worst thing, misfoxification. If you want to do the right thing and stay home if you're sick, employers won't give you sick leave for it. It's like, Ray's wants to pet the kitty. Mimsy actually likes it. She turned back around. You like a bit of attention, don't you? As Mrs. Angry went to bed, you were sitting on her lap while she watched TV. So now you come out here for some attention. That's okay. That's okay, Mimsy. You can come out for some attention. Hellion, hello, Kirsten. How are you this fine evening? Oh, let's know. What news podcasts do you listen to? Because there are so many to choose from. And Justin, what do I think of the Anti-Corruption Commission? I have not read any detail. I think the idea of just an Anti-Corruption Commission is very important because the Libs was so obviously so fucking corrupt. All right. I think right now I'm going to mix things up. All right, 10 o'clock. That's an arbitrary time, I think, to make my teeny. So I'm going to get my new gins, coconut gin. Mixing glass. Right. I've got to do this in stages. Got a lot of shit I've got to do. Get some stuff out of the way. Put that there. Alcohol content is this. That's only 35% alcohol. Okay. Lightweight. Vermouth from the fridge. Do the Unico Pomelo vermouth. And I think I'll do some orange bitters. Where are my orange bitters? There's my orange bitters. Orange bitters. And, I need my stirrer. Where is the finger of Gaz Regan? There it is. Finger of Gaz Regan. Present Nettie gave me. Kind of expecting Nettie to appear, actually. She'd had a holiday up in Queensland that she's back from. Right. Nice baby. You know what? That's enough. Oops. Close the freezer. Oh, I want my jigger again. Okie dokie. So, misfoxification, your news things. AM, All Things Considered NPR, Coronacast, Dateline, FT News Briefing, Tectonic, Insiders, Age. That is a lot. SBS. That is a lot. Wow, okay. I did see there was a chance there was going to be a marijuana legalization go through. Right. Okay. So, coconut gin. Threefold Distillings experimental series. We put a little bit of this. And yes, I agree, Black Metal Heart, decriminalization would be the minimum, but full legalization makes sense. Did you tell me? Shortly after you got home, she asked if you could look after a daughter in Sydney. Yes. And while it's good to want to be helpful, I think we've established you need to look after your physical and mental. Thank you for jumping on me like that, Mimsy. That's cool. Just glad I'm wearing thick jeans so your claws didn't jag me when you did that. Here's the thing, misfoxification. Yes. Okay, the current drug testing regime that exists in Australia is criminal in and of itself because it's not testing for under the influence. It is literally just seeing if there's trace amounts of a particular drug in someone's system. I am hugely in favor of random breath testing for alcohol because alcohol being such a serious contributing factor to accidents and fatalities on the road. And there's solid science for measuring impairment compared to blood alcohol content. The drug tests they do are complete fucking horseshit. They do not test for impairment at all. I didn't get a martini glass when I was up. Gosh darn it. I'm having it in a martini glass because I'm a classy motherfucker. Yes, don't listen to James Bond. You do not shake martinis, you stir them. That's probably enough. Damn, that tastes pretty good. All right, sorry, get my martini glass. Ugh. All right, all right, all right. All right. All right. Okie dokie. And we strain out the ice. Nice. Big chunk of ice fell in. I'm going to be really undignified and just fish it out. Ms. Fox, vacation. You suspect insurance companies influence legislation, even if it's legal to drive. Yeah, I don't know. It does need to change. People getting marijuana. Yes, that's the thing. Medical marijuana as well. Yes. Yeah, and that okay. That's even worse than the drug driving test. If an employer thinks they can fire you for a prescribed medication, that should be illegal. And yes, having worked for insurance companies, I agree. Insurance companies are pretty fucking ruthless. Ray's laws can be altered. Yeah, the laws would have to be changed. Again, also, Ray's, I basically agree with you, but natural is a meaningless word. There are thousands of natural poisons that will kill you inside of 30 seconds. Lava is natural. People shouldn't be drinking lava. Natural as a recommendation is absolutely meaningless. But actual, real, qualitative and quantitative scientific research shows marijuana is far less dangerous than alcohol. The idea that alcohol is legal or marijuana isn't is fucking farcical. Jesus Christ, that's pleasant. Yes, Ms. Fox occasionally said you might be able to get legally prescribed marijuana, but you could lose your license. So yeah, it's ridiculous. Opium is natural. That's milder than all the things I said. Yes, uranium's natural. Arsenic's natural. Well, it is true that everything's edible once. Some things are edible more than once. So it's you know, it is what it is. But yeah, as I bristle a bit at the idea of natural being a recommendation, but in all seriousness, anyone who argues alcohol is less dangerous than marijuana is either a complete fucking moron who's swallowed all the bullshit, or they are deliberately lying, because it's not even close. It is not even close. The difference in the safety between alcohol and marijuana. Well, yes, although the war on drugs was a purely American thing, although the mentality exists around the world. Yeah, the war on drugs is over. Drugs won. And yes, Dr. Abigail, the Greens bill at the federal level to legalize marijuana be good. I have no idea if it's going to get supported, but it's way past time. Oh, Jesus Christ. Everything went wrong with Reagan. Seriously. There's like 20 or 30 things you can measure, societal things, that got worse post-Reagan because of policies that were introduced in the Reagan era. Income disparity, drug deaths, just so fucking much got fucked up by the Reagan administration. Absolutely terrible. Deep sigh. It's quite ridiculous. So, mind you, my martinis are really fucking nice. This is much sweeter. That's really quite good. Yummy. Just thinking of, speaking about swapping things up, I find a recipe, not tonight. I think I've had a drink with this tonight. I might leave it at that. Find a recipe for a cocktail that uses coconut rum and put this coconut gin in and see what it's like. Oh, yeah. Well, Thatcher and Reagan were in at the same time, and they were in absolute lockstep with their brutal neoliberal bullshit. And yes, the UK is not just going full Reaganomics, it's going down the fucking toilet. Like the pound is tanking like never before. Oh yeah, the concept of Labor saying they have to go through with these LNP tax cuts is fucking ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I love that. People saying organic arsenic was okay in smaller doses. Yeah, there are a bunch of. I think you get the spectrum of people like who are very influential publicly, who talk about natural, who are pushing products usually, and I think it's this weird mix of incredibly naive people who don't think anything through, who just go natural must be good, and at the other end of that spectrum are fucking scam artists like Gwyneth Paltrow who are selling absolute fucking bullshit products. They're just creepy, exploitative fucking capitalists who are exploiting other people's naivety. And it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. So St. Albanese is a tradition. It didn't used to be. Oh yeah, that's another fun one, Dr. Abigail. Chemical free. Yeah, what's it made of? It's meaningless buzzwords. Like there was a fun one I saw as someone talking about someone I only eat natural things. Yeah, but there's a really popular food, doctors say is healthy, and then listed off all these scary sounding chemical names that were in this food and saying, so you're telling me you wouldn't eat that even if doctors say it's not only harmless but it's actively good for you? And so no, they're in the pockets of big pharma. I'd never eat that. And saying that's an apple. All those ingredients I just mentioned, they occur naturally in apples. I just used scary sounding chemical names that mean, and they were the real names of various chemicals that occur in apples. But it's just this ridiculous fucking hype. Yes, it's going to be everything's chemicals. It is. The atmosphere's chemical. Yeah, it's, again, meaningless fucking buzzwords. It's like, ugh. And isn't it fucking weird how that during COVID, that whole wellness hippie crowd just meshed seamlessly with the ultra right wing fucking lunatics, and it's pretty fucking amazing to see. Yeah. That's one that happens a lot. Black metal heart and anti-vaxxers saying they won't put unknown shit in the system while vaping flavored chemicals. Yeah. Yeah, don't want chemicals, but don't want bugs in the food. Bugs are fine. Formaldehyde's made in the body, essential for DNA replication. More formaldehyde in a pear than a vaccine. Yeah. And Oh God, sorry, I was halfway through. Another one occurred to me while I was reading that from you, Dr. Abigail. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, formaldehyde sounds scary, but it's the things that just sound scary. But it's like you can get oxygen poisoning. Like people do this dumb thing about carbon dioxide, like when we're talking about climate change. You go, oh, carbon dioxide's in the air. They want you to stop breathing. It's going, well, if you think carbon dioxide is harmless, allow me to put you in an airtight room and just pump it full of carbon dioxide and see how well you do. But for that matter, you could pump it full of oxygen and they'd die. Oh, gosh, Kirsten, that's an awful one. Husband left headphones at work and it's a long weekend. Gosh darn, that's bad. And yes, misintoxication, that's also a disturbing bit of news. Polio coming back. Polio. Good fucking God. Anti-vaxxers. I hate them so fucking much. They are just the worst. Whoa. Ooh, my God, a ding on the phone. Who's dinging me this late at night? It's not AIDSy. I thought it might have been AIDSy. All right, I do just have to check something here. I'll just be a minute. Sorry. Young Miss Angry just dinging me like, what's the Disney Plus password? I thought I knew what it was, and I was right. I just needed to check my file that has passwords in it. Oh yeah, no, Ray's polio is fucked, man. Man, if that gets out of control, I don't know. Good question. What's she watching? I'm gonna ask her. I have to admit, while Andor's probably my pick at the moment, She-Hulk is silly funny. Ray's, the thing is, I think I think people haven't been getting polio vaccines for a long time because it was eradicated. Yeah, Black Metal Heart, we need to pre-order our Iron Lungs. Watching all sorts of things. I started watching the cyberpunk anime on Netflix, which is like inspired by the very dodgy video game Cyberpunk 2042 or whatever the fuck it was. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. It's pretty interesting. I like the style. It's a very chaotic, anarchic style. Okay. Young Miss Angry is watching a cartoon called Owl House. So there you go. Yummy. Okay. This is quite nice. Coconut gin. Right, I put my vermouth back in the fridge. Put the vermouth back in the fridge. Ooh, I might intersperse. Just thinking of things to intersperse. A ginger ale I might have as my next non-alcoholic beverage. Oh, Dr. Abigail, you like Owl House. Oh, okay, Salumi, you like it too. There you go. Oh, Miss Foxification. People raving about it on the Cyberpunk subreddit. Like I said, watch the first 2 episodes. I quite enjoy it. You have a hootie wreath for the front door. Nice. Yes, a Black Metal Heart. I have heard they patched the Cyberpunk game to a reasonable state. I still haven't played it. It's the kind of game I'd like if it works. But I remember not long after it came out, there were some videos on YouTube of someone comparing it to games that had come out years earlier, like 3, 4, 5 years earlier, and just showing the difference in bullet damage to surfaces and like if vehicles caught on fire or whatever. And everything in Cyberpunk was fucking terrible. Like 3, 4, 5-year-old games were so much better. And to the extent that I was suspecting this person had faked this video because I was looking at it going, how the fuck could someone release a game that fucking dodgy? But yeah, it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm still kind of playing Borderlands 3 every now and then. I want to get back. I was doing my second playthrough of Barbie Horse Adventures for Boys, Red Dead Redemption 2. Haven't played. Last time I tried to play it on a stream, and because the setup here is not conducive to easy gaming, and everything kept going wrong and I kept getting killed, so I got the shits and stopped. So Miss Foxification is saying, if you bump a car, cause others to randomly crash around you. No physical contact. You just crash to a buggy. Yeah. But this one was literally showing like you'd shoot at a wall and it would show no damage. And it's like, oh. So when you're playing Stray, you found Doc. We did have a few Stray streams with Dr. Abigail. That's a fun, silly game, being a cat running around a cyberpunk dystopia. So yeah, sorry, this is the sort of games I like. I did get kind of excited when they Nintendo said, yes, there is definitely a new Zelda game coming. It's apparently a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Speaking of things I want to replay, at some point, probably have to fire up the Switch again and replay Breath of the Wild. I fucking love that game. Okay. We stopped when you had COVID. We should finish it sometime. We should line that up. Yes. Sorry. I just remembered talking about Zelda Breath of the Wild. A really funny thing, because it's an extremely big map in Breath of the Wild. You can do fast travel things and you can ride a horse. There are ways to get around faster, but you can also walk around this entire huge fucking map as well. And someone did a video once, because there's one bit with a city that only women are allowed in, and Link, being a boy, can't get in. And this guy playing it said, I wonder if, because there's this other bit where there are these huge barrels that you can get in and walk around, and it's like people, don't see you because you're in that barrel. And he's going, I wonder if I could get in this barrel, which is on the other side of the map, and walk all the way to this city where only women are, and could I sneak past the guards because I'm in the barrel? So he did it. And in terms of physical gameplay, it takes a couple of hours to walk this distance, and he's walking inside this barrel. And at one point, he got attacked by someone or got hit by lightning or something, which destroyed the barrel. So he had to go back and start again, and eventually gets it after hours and hours, and all these misadventures. He gets to walking the barrel through the gates of this city. And the guards stop him and throw him out. So he spent like 6 hours trying to answer the question, can I sneak into this city if I'm inside a barrel? The answer was no. But it took him 6 hours to get that definitive answer, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. Maybe I'm easily amused, but I thought that was pretty funny. So that raised Sam Kerr is on the cover of FIFA. Proud to get knowing that's wild. So proud to call everyone else. Cool. No idea who that is. But good-o. I am not very knowledgeable at all on the sports. Oh, no. Megaleech had a burst pipe. God damn. That sucks. Okay, so Black Metal Heart, you know Sam Kerr too. There you go. See, I'm fucking ignorant. I do not know the sports. But good-o, I say. Oh, that whole thing. There's a woman in it. I don't like it. It's kind of like all the fuckwits who think they're not super obvious. Saying they're not arguing against Rings of Power because of the black characters when they totally are. And the people saying dumb shit about the Sandman series with characters being different races from the comic. And, oh God, what's the other one? Oh, Little Mermaid. Obsessing over Disney doing a version of Little Mermaid where Ariel's black. And the Amazon movie Prey, where the lead was a young woman. And it's like, I haven't seen it, but it's got a girl in it, so I hate it. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, you fucking losers. And just the whole fucking thing of, no, I'm not doing it because I'm a racist, misogynist bigot. It's like, you are, though. You really are. So she's female footballer, one of the best in the world, won every award. Did it all mocking people being sexist. No, mad at her for being a lesbian. Excellent. She sounds cool. Like I said, it's just my ignorance there. So it's a misfoxification. Anyone in a gender race should be able to play any character. And it's also fucking fantasy, shit that's not real. It's weird. Dr. Abigail, you may have wasted 30 minutes of game time, fortnightly D&D, complaining about fanfic. It is fanfic. It is absolutely fanfic. I have no objection whatsoever to that description of it. It's literally been very loosely inspired by some source material, and they've gone, yeah, but what if? Yeah, all right. Go for it, I say. And I'll voice the possibly unpopular opinion of the other Tolkien books outside of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, and all the other stuff that was published posthumously is very dense and difficult to read, and honestly, not all that interesting to read. It's some incredible world building and all that sort of thing. Not really a very enjoyable read. That's, of course, a very subjective personal opinion. And yes, that being an artistic endeavor, everyone has their own subjective experience of it. For me, even though I've read them all, they're not great reading. I know you're going to disagree, Dr. Abigail, but the Silmarillion is not a good read. It's really dense turgid prose. It's just not a very entertaining read. It's an amazing amount of story in there and world building and what that. And as I said, I also put the preface in it. It's a subjective experience of artistic expression. And so subjective experience is going to be different from person to person. I love that Black Metal Heart. Real question, where was Gondor when the Westfold fell? Yes, where indeed. The country hit cousins being resentful for the big city folk. Rays, are you like going to, was that the all the scary racist shit? Yeah, Dr. Abigail, yes, I know. That's your subjective experience of the first book of the Silmarillion. The world building stuff. Like I said, I have the audio book of it with Martin Shaw reading it, and he has a wonderful voice for reading that. And I would actually recommend that if someone thought they wanted to get into it, but they tried to read it and found it difficult, I would actually recommend the Audible version with Martin Shaw reading it, because he has a wonderful voice for reading it. Yep, that's the stuff I saw. Yes, various AFL clubs with quite horrific policies. Yes. Who knew big corporate entities would be fuckheads? Because that's what the AFL clubs are. Just big corporate money-making entities. I suppose they're not that big, but they are corporate money-making entities. That's what they care about. That I'm going to have. Ooh, that's the spiced orange ginger ale. Is that what I've got most of? Well, fuck it. I'm going to have a spiced orange ginger ale. I got to get a bottle opener though, because I'm got weak little girl hands, and this is not a twist top. Is that a bottle opener? That's a bottle opener. Okay. Go and get your shit together, bottle opener. Get your shit together. All right. Tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Tell you what I want, what I really, really, really want. Class. People who I wish would sponsor me. Fever Tree. Also, my other non-alcoholic beverage for the night, the Australian Maker Cappy. They're fucking awesome. Of course, top of the tree of people I wish would sponsor me, the boozers I'm drinking. Archie Rose. Threefold. And many others. Tradie Trev. A little bit of a pisshead, brother. A little bit of a pisshead. Being super responsible. Mixing it up with non-alcoholic drinks, though. Jeff Kennett's a fucking troglodyte. He's just, he's the fucking worst. He's, I don't know. I think he's got early onset dementia myself. Oh my God, that's good. I got turned on to this Fever Tree spiced orange ginger ale a while ago. I don't know, a year or so ago. There's a gin maker out in Geelong, Anther. They put out a chocolate gin, and I went, "Oh, that sounds fun. I'm getting chocolate gin." And their signature serve, their recommended way to drink it, was with Fever Tree spiced orange ginger ale, and it is fucking awesome. I was tempted to actually, because I still have some of the chocolate gin, put it in there, but I'm like, you know what? After my somewhat irresponsible behavior last Friday night, I'm being Mr. Responsible this thing, and I'm mixing it up. So I will just have some of the spiced orange ginger ale with no alcohol in it, because it's really nice. Neat. Tradie Trev smashed as well. It's Friday night. Friday night, brother. That's what it's all about. I'm I'm about a quarter Tim Smith at the moment. Actually, maybe more. I definitely wouldn't drive a car at the moment, put it that way. But then again, it's because Tim Smith's a piece of shit. Narcissist who thinks he's above rules. This Foxification Australia needs more tasty, non-alcoholic drinks. Oh yeah, shitty lolly water appeals to Charles Power. I would, okay. This Foxification. I think Fever Tree English? Citrus subtly spiced. Blend of ginger, clementine, and cinnamon. I think Fever Tree are English, but there's an Australian soda and tonic maker called Capi, C-A-P-I. Their stuff's fucking great. And they do some. Do I have any of those in here? Okay. These ones just Capi tonics. Okay. So they do some soda waters that are really lightly flavored. This Foxification, I've seen Cappy in Coles and Dan Murphy's as well, but they have two types of sodas. One that's completely clear like soda water and is just really lightly flavored, like not even artificial sugar. It doesn't even have artificial sugar in it, let alone sugar. And yes, you can come on the stream, Dr. Abigail. And then they have other ones that are more like traditional soft drinks that have some sugar in them. But yeah, Dr. Abigail coming on the stream. Just got to copy the link. But yeah, possibly an acquired taste misfoxification. The ones that have no sweetener in them, not even artificial sweetener, I really like. It's just like soda water with just this. Some of them are herbal, and like there's a blood orange one, and there's some that are herbal. They're really nice. They also make good mixes, but yeah, as you're saying, they're not kids' lolly water basically. But also the Fever Tree drinks, I really like. They make tonics. They make a whole spectrum of tonics. And a few different ginger ales, ginger beers. They're very good too. Yes, I think you definitely don't get high fructose corn syrup. But I could be wrong. I better check. Okay, this Fever Tree one. My old eyes need more light. What are the ingredients? It's in tiny letters. Imported by Thirsty Camel. Wait, where are the ingredients? Water, fruit sugar, color, natural ginger flavor, acid. So it's not high fructose corn syrup, but it is fructose. Well, what's that? Dr. Abigail's just an orange square. What's that about? Rectangle, I should say, rather than square. Oh, there you are. Hello. Can't hear you, though.
Yeah, because I had my mic muted.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Just, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going? Can I I'm gonna put something. You know how StreamYard has a private chat?
Yes.
I'm gonna type something in the private chat. Oh, hello,
Okay.
Salimi. Because this just happened, right? And
Yes.
I'm kind of fuming.
Okay.
And I need to express it to somebody.
Yep. I'm already guessing, but
remember how I needed some advice about something about a week
I
and a
thought
half
that's where
ago?
this was going. Yes.
This is where that's going, and how like literally the day after Nettie got back,
Yeah.
she asked me to look after Shaylee.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I need to just type this in private chat because I mean, so just you keep talking.
Yeah, no. We'll
You
keep
keep
talking over
talking.
here. See, Tradie Trev, you're doing the beer. See, I don't drink beer at all. I don't like beer. I have been known to drink cider, but I've just been occasionally, to my detriment, go, fuck yeah, I'm just drinking spirits. And when I say occasionally, I possibly mean last Friday. Which is why I'm very consciously taking it a bit easier. It's okay for me. You know, I don't drink alcohol every day. Like some people will have, 1 or 2 or 3 drinks every day. Have drink with dinner. I don't. I tend to. The 2 times I tend to drink if I'm on a stream or if I'm actually out for real. So it is a social thing with me. And I don't really miss it when I don't drink. So that's good there. Oh yeah, no, Rays. It was definitely a good laugh. That's the whole thing. You got to do that every now and then. It's funny. I watched it back, or I watched key bits of it back, and it's going, okay, well, this is broadly coherent the whole time. I just got very fighty, and my favorite moment was when I switched. It's like I've got my Blue Yeti microphone here, and I switched it off so I could go and have a call. And StreamYard did some dumb shit where it used the mic on my webcam to pick me up. So people are trying to have conversations, and I'm talking over there, and I'm picking it up and drowning it out. And then I'd hear people shouting, "Angry, angry, turn off your microphone." And then I'd walk past and angrily shout, "I've turned the fucking microphone." This was when you can tell I'm not quite there, that I'm arguing with people who are talking to me, and I'm talking back at them, and I'm talking back at them saying, "I don't have my microphone on." That's when you can tell I wasn't quite there, that I would have that as an argument.
And you were so like irate and angry, like sorry, I just had to vent at
Oh yeah, absolutely.
on private chat. You read that?
Yeah, and I also replied to it, which again is actually useless.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh,
incredibly useless after the fact. But I love doing that. Even to myself. Okay, after the fact, I have this great insight, which is absolutely fucking useless right now. Salumi, beer gives you migraines. Yeah, and that's some people get it from wines as well. It's like the sulfites in wine. Some people have a reaction to it. So what's this? Sorry, Tradie Trev, Big Itch Man. One of mates, another tuber, ended up gas. Oh gosh, no. Oof. Okay, look, Tradie. Trev, I absolutely get the self-medication thing. Not the healthiest thing in the world, I will just throw out. But I absolutely understand where you're coming from. And yes, Dr. Abigail, yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's just sorry, everyone else getting this oblique half conversation.
yeah, like yeah, there's no point in victim blaming here.
No. But
because that's what your comment felt like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, sorry. I literally meant that as this is a useless bit of advice because it's, it's
Yeah.
too late for it now. Um, um,
Yeah.
we can
You're
have an
right. I should have, but
yeah,
like, okay. So in context,
yeah.
I'm like recovering from COVID. It affected my chronic fatigue like so badly. Like
Oh
I had
yeah,
fatigue like I'd never experienced on the back of COVID. And I'd just gotten to the point where I could get out of the house and actually do stuff. And I
yeah,
had just done 15 minutes at the gym, right? And
yeah,
I barely lifted 3 kilos and I did 5 minutes on a treadmill. Sorry, a bike.
yeah,
And I counted that as a win. That's how fatigued I was. And
yeah,
then I got this text message, and
yeah.
then I was on my way to, because I volunteer at the campaign office for the Greens here in Richmond.
Mm,
Um, uh, and so I was on my way there, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. I'll deal with this when I get home. Because I needed to be in the mind space of what I had to do at the
yeah,
office.
yeah,
And then I did what I needed to do. I didn't even finish because I brain fog started to kick in, and
yeah.
everyone at the Greens office was like, "Oh, Abigail, it's been so long. How you feeling?" And I'd
Bit
like felt like
overwhelming.
I
Yeah.
told it the recovery story 4 times, and and so and then I had to recount a story, which I want to do as well. Um,
Yeah,
this story about the housing office that was just bullshit. The public housing office that
yeah,
I spoke to my local state member about while I was there.
yeah,
Um, so anyway, and then I got home and crashed. That was it. That
yeah,
that like that was all I had the energy for, and it said hello to you, crashed, and then I
yeah.
slept for 14 hours and promptly forgot about it.
Mm,
But like I just feel used at this point. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of
yeah,
to some extent without going into too much detail. Only
yeah,
because like they might be watching. I don't know. I have no idea. Like I want to help, but there's only so much I can do while I'm recovering from COVID.
yeah.
And like
Yes,
it
I mean,
really did affect my chronic fatigue so badly.
yeah, yes. And I feel like you're in the position now where it would probably behoove you to generally tell people on pretty much anything. Uh, First response to anything is, I've been so fucked up by COVID, I can't commit to anything. There's a whole spectrum of things I'd like to
Yeah.
do, uh,
Yep.
but in the interests of my own health and well-being, I can't commit to anything. Uh,
Yeah, and I'm looking at not being able to do much or make serious plans for the rest of the year.
yeah.
Like that's how bad it's gotten. And
Oh yeah.
I need to look after myself to fully recover for a good couple of months. And that is the rest of the year. It's only like um 3 months till Christmas or something. So
Yep. No, we're at the end of September. It's less than 3 months till
mhm.
Christmas. It's three
Yeah,
months till
so
New Year's Eve.
volunteer. Do you happen to know what Green's growth is like? I'm not sure what the party membership is like.
Yeah.
I mean, I could find out, but
Yeah.
like certainly the vibe is that um, here in Melbourne, like we're starting to get really um, um, good feelings about picking up more seats in the upcoming state election.
Neat.
And like the polling numbers seem to mirror that, but
Yeah.
chasing polls is a mug's game.
Well,
Um,
yes. As the
the
politicians
the
like to say, there's only one poll that counts, and that's the one on voting
yeah,
day.
the Greens are in a like their method of their method of campaigning is very much based on conversational kind
Mm,
of one-on-one conversations with people instead of like blanket advertising everywhere. So it really gives a lot of information back to candidates, the Greens candidates, on what people are thinking, what and feeling, and a general vibe. So yeah, it's especially like I'm in the seat of Richmond for the state election, and we've got a really good feeling about it. So,
You're
and
good.
it's traditionally been a Labor seat. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Although I have to admit, I do find it a bit funny when Labor goes like full on attack on Greens. Some Green supporters go, I don't understand. Why is Labor doing that? And going, because it's politics and you're threatening Labor's
yeah,
power. So, of course, they're going
yeah,
psycho on you because you're threatening their
yeah,
power.
because
It's the same.
they don't want a minority government. They want to
No,
just
they want to.
they don't want to
It's the same
compromise.
as watching the truly hilarious attacks the Conservatives, the LNP establishment, are making on the teal Conservatives, who are conservative independents, because the LNP has turned off such a large number of their traditional voters, that someone who goes like, they step in basically like, I'm conservative. I've been a lifelong liberal, but I can't go along with this just unhinged shit they're doing. So
Yeah,
people go, yeah. And it's the same as people who traditionally voted Labor just going, Labor kind of sucks corporate dick, don't they? It's
yeah, yes, they do.
oh right. Sorry, just I'm so glad. I, I just got a bank alert for because I got worried about fraud and stuff. So I get notifications for just about everything at the moment. And this is like for one of
Yeah.
my online subscriptions. And it's like, yeah, at 11 o'clock at night. I'm so glad I'm still awake and not
Oh,
in bed. Be really pissed off.
yeah.
Our
I
systems were not compromised. So there's another
I
alert
mis
from them. We were not
I
compromised by the
misplaced my ATM card recently, and I need to find
operator.
it. So I'm gonna do that
That's fair.
with
Hey,
as
bum fungus,
as
by the way. No,
much
I
sitting down as
am
possible.
not associated with Optus. It's kind of funny
Oh,
when I open my bank thing, there's another alert that says, our systems were not compromised by the Optus breach. Sure, that's exactly what someone who'd been compromised by the breach would say.
yeah. Indeed.
Must be enough. Jesus.
Wonder where I
Look,
put it. Last time I
wait,
saw it was on my desk.
how much is pending on my oh, actually there's a bit pending on my credit card. That's okay. Oh, that's not too bad. I'll just looking at how much I'd run up on my credit card while I had the bank app open. Not too bad. I was almost saying, there's almost nothing run up on my credit card. I need to go online shopping now. I don't because I got 4 bottles this week. So yeah, various of my favorite distillers put out limited editions. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. And then there's some other stuff, and I'm going, I'm probably not getting that because I've got to exert some fucking willpower. It's like
Yes.
I don't have
I
a
need.
lot.
I've got like one drink left of Melbourne Dry, and I need to get a new bottle.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to find my ATM card. I misplaced it, and I think it's
All
on my
right, I
desk.
can
But
understand wanting
you've
to
seen
find
my
that.
desk. My desk is very
I have.
like creatively organized.
I mean, I could do.
It's
I don't know
a,
if it'll even show up.
a
No, it's too
euphemism
far
for
away. I don't think it's showing up. My
completely
work desk is
messy.
over there. So we're
Okay.
basically working from home. I work just over there, just a little extension. So people are, of course, always coming into the kitchen all day. Sometimes while I'm in online meetings and they're wanting to do stuff like, I don't know, have food.
Yes.
Selfish bastards.
How dare they
I know.
want to
So
make food in your workspace kitchen?
yeah. I
Oh,
always want
see,
to make jokes like I'm stacking the dishwasher or something or preparing something and I'm not at my desk when someone pings me and I say, I'm sorry, I was just putting stuff in the dishwasher so I didn't get passive aggressive notes from my co-workers.
You're talking about your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this is exhausting me now.
Yeah.
See, that's how
That's how
bloody
quickly
affected I am.
the chronic fatigue
I'm
kicks in. Yeah.
just looking for an ATM card on my desk, and now I'm puffed out. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
All right.
no,
So
it's not.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna go over here. Ooh, I'm gonna rinse this out. Still got residue from when I made the pina colada earlier. All right. Clean that out a little bit. If you let me, what is that? Looks gross. Okay. So kind of sink rinsing stuff. Then you see something sitting there. What is that? That looks really gross. How long has that been sitting there? That's it's a whole thing. Safa, there is a spare room in the house, but both myself and Mrs. Angry being working from home with the COVID thing, and Mrs. Angry being a counsellor working with people's mental health, she actually has a lot of sensitive information, and she can't have counseling sessions with people out here in the open. So she gets the spare room / office to work from home, and I just set up here. So yeah, that's why I'm here and not in the spare room, because I don't have to have sort of. I'm forgetting the correct word. It's not sensitive, but it basically means that. So Mrs. Angry is actually doing counselling sessions with people, so she needs to be in a private space. She can't be doing it out in the open. What's that? The Star Observer. Nice.
It's from June.
This year.
June, yes. For anyone who's curious what this is one of the free queer Melbourne magazines that I
Been
don't know how
around
they
for
advertising.
many decades.
It has.
There was
So
a
it's
Sydney
yeah.
Star
So
Observer when I was in Sydney, and that was 25 years ago.
there's this one. There is what else is there? There's Lottle. There's
Lesbians on the Loose.
Lesbians on the Loose. There's
Yeah.
what are the other ones? Shit.
That's another one that's been running since at least the 80s. So
Yes, Star Observer. There's fuck. Oh, I forget. I've got brain fog now.
Yeah. Pre the internet, there was a whole bunch of
Oh, yeah.
what we called street press would come out weekly. The internet killed that, much as it killed huge amounts of the traditional publishing industry. But it certainly killed the free street press because there was no point in that stuff existing. All on websites.
Yeah, they're pretty rare now. I picked that up at my GP's
Yeah.
office, where you can like, and there's hares and hyenas around. Oh well, actually, it's not even hares and hyenas anymore. There used to be a queer bookshop around the corner from me. It's
Yes.
they moved to the big ass queer centre in St Kilda,
Right.
and now it's called the Hare Hole. It's still the same layout.
No.
It's still the same. They still sell books, but it's more like they try to use it as an event space as well. And I go to a knitting and crochet group there called Melbourne Queer Stitch and Bitch. It's
Nice.
on every fortnight or so.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hate that joke, Tradie Trev. Every lesbian does. It's just so awful. It's like every lesbian or female attracted woman or any iteration of that has heard that a billion times, and it's just so we're over it. It's just, yeah, it's not even funny.
I'm having I was trying to bring something up on YouTube and it's just not happening. Oh, there you go. 5th time lucky, I suppose. This.
Yeah, Salemi gets it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No,
Look, yeah,
YouTube is.
there are people who haven't heard it and they would laugh. That's fine. The first time you hear it, you'll laugh. But, there are people who've heard it like 1,000 times and it kind of just like makes fun of us a little bit.
Yes.
And
I can understand if you're coming from a non-malicious place, but
yeah, like
it is done in a malicious way by a lot of people.
I've never heard it said in a malicious way. I'm so over it. That's all. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
I suppose
when you hear a joke 1,000 times, you
Yeah.
just don't laugh anymore.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
that joke is about a marginalized group.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to turn that around because it's kind of like, and I got reminded again because I think I had an email from God, what's the video game shop called? That's in the shopping malls. I was going to say Video Easy. My brain seized up, and I was going to say Video Easy.
Blockbuster.
Yeah. No. What's the video game shop that's in all the shopping malls?
EB Games.
Yeah, EB Games. And when EB Games has a sale, they do that ridiculous plastering of the sale.
Yes.
And
yes.
you get people who'll post a picture and saying, "Oh, I think EB Games might be having a sale." It's like,
I've never heard that joke before. Yeah.
But I have to admit, I have done it with a frame of where I've put the thing up and go, hey, like a lot of people try and be funny and they fail. And I've been working at this for ages, so I actually know how to make jokes. And it's got to be carefully constructed. It's got to come at something from an innovative angle, and it's got to surprise people with your delivery. So, for instance, I'll go, and after doing all this elaborate setup that I'm going to be original and different, they go, I think EB Games is having a sale. And then it's funny again because you did this whole elaborate
Yeah,
setup.
because you've set it up. Yeah.
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 But yeah, if you're, yeah, it's a whole thing. But yes, and Heine's saying EB Game stuff. Yes, all of my interactions with EB Games staff have been good, and I imagine I imagine they roll their eyes every time management goes, "There's a sale," and they go, and we're going to plaster the entire fucking store with a so." 10 times a day, someone's going to say to me, "Are you having a sale?" And and they think they're real fucking funny, and I just smile, and I just mentally I'm stabbing them, and it's just like it's ridiculous. As,
Yeah.
it's yeah, but again, things that the corporate world forces people into, it's not good.
Oh, I went into a Chemist Warehouse once,
Yeah,
and for real, they had plastered every single item on every shelf with those yellow
yeah,
sale
oh
signs,
yes.
and it was just a cacophony of yellow sale signs, and I had to leave. I walked in, said nope, and walked straight out. And one of the employers were like, what? And I just said, no, I can't. It's just visual
It's too much.
stimulus overload. And I went back the next day and they'd taken them down. Yeah. Like corporate be damned.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I was thinking I need to do another toilet break, and I find a video to divert. And I was going through what are the videos that have been watched most on my YouTube channel, and I think 2 minutes. That's long enough for me to have a quick break. I think I played it recently, actually, but the Dalek reacting to Two Girls, One
I was
Cup.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna. It's only 2 minutes, and it's pretty goddamn good. So gonna have a 2 minute interlude of, let's see. Got to share the screen first, you idiot. There we go. How's that? That's doing that. I'll do that and make it full screen, and I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. Deborah sent me this link to a video called Two Girls, One Cup. He said it is pretty gross, but yeah, I was in the Time Wars. I'm sure I will be fine. Deborah said it made him throw up, but yeah, I hope it does not make me throw up. Of course, I do not have a mouth. I should be fine. Okay, let's get this thing going. Okay, we have two chicks getting it on. What? Oh, no. Do not do that, human. Oh, stop. Oh, no. Ew. Oh, this is why Daleks are the superior beings. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, humans need to be exterminated. Ew. No. Oh, tell me when it is over. Oh. Screw you, Davros. Screw you. Oh my God. What the hell did you send me? will send it to all my friends.
Okay. There you go. Dalek reacting to 2 girls, 1 cup. Oh, dear. And yes, the Hannah Montana poster, Dr. Epicow, a very deliberate part of the set. Scotty, who did that, who built the Dalek costume and is inside it, he did not always have a Hannah Montana poster on his wall. He did that specifically for the Dalek. So just thought, yeah, no, a Dalek would definitely have a Hannah Montana poster on their wall. So, but yeah, I mean, that's been viewed 1,325,857 times. That's been watched a lot. So we did do one other Dalek one. It was, I guess, a bit more of a moment in time. Although, again, I think there's probably a lot of people who have no idea what the 2 girls, 1 cup reference is. It was a real big deal on the internet about 15 years ago.
Was it that long?
No. Okay. 2009 is when that's from. So that's 13 years.
Oh, good night. Good night, Salumi.
No, Salumi. Thank you for dropping in. All right.
It was good to see you again.
Yes, it's always good to see you. All right. I'm thinking. You know what? I think I might. I'm going to make a daiquiri. I might reuse my martini glass for it. But, all right. Got a shaker. Use these big bits of ice I got left to shake it with. This is a big satisfying noise. The ice clanging into a metal container. I got another big bit of ice here. Okay, so I am going to. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. Time for some more rum. Rum, tiddly tum tum.
Wow,
Fancy.
you just said that with your face mouth.
Yeah, no, I do that. I, you know, it's the weird thing of monologuing for several hours. You come up with very weird ways to express yourself, and that includes singing nonsense.
Fair enough. I'm too introverted for that.
That's okay. I usually am too, but you know, alcohol. What are you going to do? God, I just remembered.
So that's what I'm missing.
Yes, the secret ingredient
is alcohol.
Inhibition releases, aka alcohol. Every time this is someone like defending a trash comedian, a trash but very successful comedian like Ricky Gervais or Louis C.K. think, oh, you know, they're edgy and they're taking risks and getting faced. Like, they're being reactionary fuckwits is what they're being. But if you want real risk-taking comedy that actually cost the people doing it a bit and created a real stir, but with conservatives, I think you can still get it on YouTube. There was a comedy series on BBC ages ago, I don't know, like 10 years ago, called Brass Eye. And they had a special that they called Pedogeddon, because there was a bit of hysteria sweeping the UK about pedophiles, and it had culminated in this weird fucking mob setting fire to a doctor's office because there was a sign saying he was a pediatrician, and well, he's just saying it there on the sign, and they set fire to the office. And so they did this, I think it's like about a half-hour show with a series. It's like a fake news report, like a 60 Minutes type thing about, the pedophile tsunami taking over England, and it's called Pedogeddon. And they fucking went there. It's not like they ever said, "Oh, pedophilia is good," actually, but it was just like, could we be slightly less hysterical about it? And the reason I thought about it is it just, with things associated with said nonsense, because one slang term for pedophiles in England is a nonce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, NONCE. They is slang for a child abuse.
I
And
had no idea that
they
was
got
what that
these
meant.
various celebrities, including I think Phil Collins was one of them, to do a public service announcement for this new education thing about telling kids to watch out for pedophiles, and we're calling it, nonsense, like, understand. They literally had these people saying the line, "I'm talking nonsense."
Wow.
That's what made me think of it. But again, it was like absolutely surreal, farcical stuff. Like it's going like, notorious area pedophile, John Smith, is finally arrested and convicted by police, and so he could never hurt society again. He was put in a rocket and fired into orbit, where he'll stay for the rest of his life. But then tragically, Mission Control realized after the rocket had been launched, a child was in the capsule with him. But they goes, "This is exactly what we didn't want to happen," said Mission Control. It's just like, what where the fuck do you... And they had another one of a pedophile disguising himself as a school and roam, and they had this Photoshop of like a brick wall with someone's face in it. He's trying to lure children in by pretending to be and it was just like they were basically taking the paranoia and whatnot and just running with it and taking it to absolutely absurd. Now, all the people behind that were getting, after it went to air, they were getting death threats and whatnot. Just, how dare you? Just like, because it's stupid. What people are saying is stupid. How people are behaving is stupid. So we did something that was extra stupid to try and highlight that it's all stupid. But
yeah.
But I think that's still on YouTube. Brass Eyes Pedogeddon, and it's surreal. It's like because you reckon, if you've watched a bunch of British comedy over the last 10, 15 years, you'll probably recognize some of the people in it. Like, I recognize some of them, had, roles in like the IT crowd and that sort of thing. But yeah, no, that's someone that's dangerous comedy at that point, doing something that is gonna upset people.
I'm Googling it.
Oh, that's nice. So Megaleech, you're up to the whiskey video. Watch it tomorrow from there. Oh, Megaleech was watching back from the start. Yeah, no, that's a while ago.
Oh, it's the YouTube video is blocked in Australia.
Oh, is it? Damn.
And according to, it might just be because I've no.
Okay, I'm just searching on
Might just be
YouTube.
my browser.
Doesn't look like the whole thing is on YouTube anymore.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I was just looking at the things. So when I did a search on it on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of little clips of Brass Eye and Chris Morris, who's the main person behind it. Then there's a video from The Onion from 13 years ago headed, "Ex-pedophile shares tips on how to make your kids less attractive." Just so fucked.
Oh, Jesus. Fucking. Oh my God.
So yeah, there are a bunch of little clips of Brass Eye, and there seem to be some of your classic YouTube video essays talking about the pedagogy, but it looks like it's not on YouTube anymore. Okay, so Meglici's gonna buy replacement pipes and installing it tomorrow. Jesus. Justin saying UK Labour has a 30-point lead over the Conservatives. I don't believe that, but I basically, I'm sorry, I don't disbelieve that you're seeing that reported. I just don't believe that's a real thing. And I just say that because UK politics is so fucked and twisted. I don't understand it. Like to the extent that, when Jeremy Corbyn had been elected leader of the Labour Party by the rank and file of the Labour Party twice, so obviously Labour Party voters were likely to vote Labour with Jeremy Corbyn as leader, but the Conservative wing of the Parliamentary Labour Party hated the idea of Jeremy Corbyn being Prime Minister so much, they actually sabotaged his leadership. And fucking Tony Blair explicitly said he'd prefer the Tories to win an election than Labour led by Jeremy Corbyn.
What was wrong with Jeremy Corbyn?
It's a fucking commie. And the establishment in the Labour Party are every bit as conservative as the Tories. Like Corbyn was actually going to introduce what the neocons and similar in the UK regarded as radical policies, like, making corporations pay taxes and providing public housing and properly funding the health service.
Damn.
And just
dare they?
radical, dangerous shit like that.
Wow.
And yeah, Megaleech. I was equally disappointed by the US Democrats kneecapping Bernie Sanders, although he wasn't the actual lead. It's weird that UK Labour actually kneecapped their actual leader, but yeah, the Democrats did that fascinating thing because Bernie Sanders had all the early wins, like was literally making history with the early wins he had in the presidential nominations. And there were all these mainstream candidates who were just dividing the mainstream vote. And so Bernie Sanders was winning all those primaries. And then came the rather surprising as North or South Carolina, where Joe Biden did way better than anyone thought he would. They expected him to do well, but he'd been a joke up to that point. He'd been coming like 4th or 5th. And then in this North Carolina one, he just did massively well. And what obviously happened is the Democratic Party machine took the other mainstream candidates into a back room and said, "You are withdrawing now. Okay? You're withdrawing because if you don't, Sanders is going to continue to win because you're dividing the mainstream vote and he's getting everyone out of the mainstream. So you are withdrawing. We'll give you a job, okay? It's going to be Biden. Biden got such overwhelming support in the Carolinas. It's him, okay? None of you got that level of support anywhere. So all our weight's going behind Biden. You are fucking withdrawing, okay?" And so they withdrew, and then it was all Biden from that point on. Yeah, it's not illegal what they did. It wasn't cheating. It was rat fucking. I think I love that as a political term, rat fucking someone. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't cheating. It was rat fucking. But they literally just went, "Oh," and they did what the Republicans weren't smart enough or couldn't bring themselves to do. Like, the vote for everyone else but Trump was bigger than the vote for Trump, but everyone else stayed in. So all the candidates kept dividing up the not Trump vote. And so Trump kept winning, and he was knocking off the opponents one by one till he eventually won. And the Democrats just went, "No fucking way are we letting that happen," because that's what Sanders would have done. Absolutely. And I would have.
Sanders would have been an awesome.
Oh yeah, I 100%
president.
I also would have loved to seen him versus Trump in a straight vote, because I think he would have wiped the floor with Trump. Because what would have happened, because he's not mainstream, and you had a bunch of these internet bros who love Bernie Sanders, and a bunch of them voted for Trump just because they thought they were rocking the system when they did that.
Yeah.
But if they had Sanders to vote for, they would have voted for Sanders. I think Sanders would have cleaned the floor with Trump. And I would have just fucking loved to have seen, how does the US operate with an actual left-wing populist president? I mean, we've fucking seen it multiple times with a right-wing demagogue in there, but yeah, I was very disappointed that Sanders got kneecapped by the Democrats, and I was confused by British Labour undermining Jeremy Corbyn. So yes, if there's a report saying Labour has a huge lead over Conservatives, I'll believe it when I see it. I will not believe any poll that says Labour's ahead of Conservatives, because the huge Conservative vote they got in the last general election did my head in. Like, I just did not understand it at all. I was like, can you not see they're a bunch of psychopaths? And it's just been fulfilled in the intervening years with Boris Johnson. Or just like, yeah, no, they're fucking psychopaths. And it's just like, Jesus. It's the whole thing, but yeah. But again, the current guy, Keir Starmer, he's a fucking tool. The Labour guy in the UK. Yeah, he's just a latter-day Tony Blair wannabe. Which, okay, if you pushed me, are they better than the Tories? Yes. But it's like, well, you know, it's like I'd rather slam my fingers in a car door than slam my dick in a car door. But if I could avoid also slamming my fingers in the car door, that would be better. I think it's a false choice going, no, choose. Are you going to slam your fingers in a car door or slam your dick in a car door? I go, is there not a world where I don't do either? No, there isn't. I think if I really worked at it, I could create a world where neither happened. Sorry, you still got your thing muted.
Clearly, you haven't lived in this world for very long if you don't think that something's going to get slammed in that car door.
There are certainly people in very powerful roles who think that a large chunk of us don't have any choice but to be slamming bits of our bodies in car doors.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they should read some history books to see what has happened every single time in history. When you
and they get so shocked. They get so shocked when the guillotines come out.
Yeah. I did see like a funny meme. I don't know where it was first was, whether it was on Tumblr or Twitter or whatever, but someone saying, hey, I think someone should remind the bosses who are so anti-union, the unions were our alternative to dragging them out of their bed in the middle of the night and murdering them in front of their families. Maybe
Yeah.
they want to be less negative about unions. I'm just saying, there's a trade-off. And yes, Trev, infrastructure is definitely being sold off, not just for short-term profit. Like, I don't know if this is real. So arguably, I shouldn't repeat it because I haven't researched it. But fuck it, I'm going to. There's something that a headline saying something that Gladys Berejiklian, a government authority that she'd sold off to some private interest for $1 million to have them run it, then they on-sold it less than 5 years later for $100 million. It's like, that doesn't seem like a good deal for the people of New South Wales, quite honestly. That seems like a really fucking dodgy deal. I mean, I don't want to point fingers about who behaves in really corrupt ways, but I swear to God that she was fucking that guy who was under investigation for corruption, and while her government was still doing funding things for her. And it's like, I don't understand why you think that's corrupt. Don't you? That might be the problem. I'm just throwing it out there. What the way you're saying not a problem could be the problem. It's like, oh. That was okay. I have a low opinion of politicians of all stripes. That is possibly the worst bit of judgment I can remember a politician having. Like, they all do shitty things, but it's like they know they're doing shitty things. But it's just like, should I keep fucking this guy who's under investigation for corruption and we're still actually funneling money to him? Yeah, I probably should. Yeah. I don't see a downside. It's my private life. What does it matter? And it's like, it just comes down to, even if you're not actively engaged in corruption, the public needs to think that you're not. And it's just like, what the fuck? It's kind of like when Nick Greiner got done by his own ICAC back in the days, and they said basically because he took up when he left politics, he took up a board of directors role with one of the companies that was building freeways in New South Wales, that he'd awarded billion-dollar contracts to build motorways around Sydney. And there was an investigation, and the ICAC said, okay, this doesn't meet the definition of criminal corruption, that you took a job with someone that you'd awarded billions of dollars in contracts to, but technically you gained benefit and it doesn't look good. And they were just being as polite as possible, but everyone's going I'm sorry, while you're in power, you awarded billions of dollars to this company, and then they gave you a job on their board of directors. What the fuck? And it's my God. Yeah, and it's so funny. Like, the ICAC said, okay, doesn't meet the definition of criminal corruption, but not good. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good.
It's a bit of a yikesy.
And just the blasé way they do it. And it's just like, Jesus, you literally think nothing applies to you. It's just like,
some of them don't. Some politicians literally don't think the rules apply to them.
Oh, no. It is. Sometimes you get recordings of them saying the rules don't apply to me.
Boggles the mind.
They really, and Bum Fungus raises the obvious thing. in very real terms, in the vast majority of cases, the rules aren't actually applied to them. It's real. It's real. But that's why it's always funny when it finally busts them. It's kind of like Trump may finally face some repercussions
Oh,
for his
yeah.
incredibly obvious criminal behavior. But he got away with it for so long. The shock of the possibility of no longer getting away with it. I think I've seen some cases where it's like literally like, but I was doing that for 10 years. Why is that a problem now? Okay, it was a problem the whole time, but we've only just
Yeah.
got for it. Oh my God, I
Wow.
was having this conversation with my offspring the other day about criminal people and corrupt people who, because it's almost like the worst thing that can happen to someone who does something dodgy is they get away with it. Then it's like they think they'll always get away with it. And in the majority of cases, you won't. If you keep doing criminal shit, it will catch up with you. But because they get away with it once, twice, multiple times, they just, well, this is just how it works. And then they get horribly shocked when they're pinged. I mean, I remember my various contract jobs over the years. I've worked at banks a number of times. I've actually spent years working at banks. And in the last 10, 20 years, Australian banks, much to their chagrin, have had to put in all these anti-money laundering rules because they were just laundering a fuck ton of money for criminals because they didn't give a shit. It was money. And it was kind of like mobsters. There was a particular one here in Melbourne, mobsters doing cash deposits for massive amounts into the bank. And they're only declared, there was this one guy, I think it was Tony Mockball. His only declared source of income was a kebab truck. And really popular kebab truck because he was depositing millions of dollars in cash into a bank. And what he'd do, he'd take out a mortgage on a house and then just go into a bank branch and make massive cash payments on it till he paid off a house in cash. And then he'd sell the house and then he'd declare the sale of the house. And the money from selling the house was completely clean then. Like, so there were a whole bunch of laws brought in just because of how overt some of the mobsters were being with their drug money. And the banks weren't super keen on it. But there was because when I was doing this, because you had to do all this integrity training bank, and one of the cases they highlighted, it happened in Sydney. There's a woman, she'd worked at a bank for years, like decades, but at some point she got to a senior enough role, she realized, and it was a flaw in the way the system worked, she could open accounts without interacting with anyone else. Like, everything should go through multiple people, sort of things. But she could open accounts with no one else being involved in the process. And so she did, and she was just shifting money between these accounts. And so she was stealing millions of dollars from the bank. And because she was an idiot, she was spending on it. She like bought expensive North Shore home to live in. She was just on a bank salary, which was not a small salary, but you don't really afford this swank North Shore home and boats and shit. And she was doing this for about a decade. It's like, I will never be caught, but she stole. Eventually it got noticed and she got arrested and went to jail. And it's like, it's because she didn't think she was a criminal. It was like, if you are going to steal that much, you need to understand you're a criminal. A big chunk of your money should go into a fake passport and offshore funds that you still be able to access when you skip the country to go somewhere that doesn't have an extradition treaty with Australia. But she didn't. She was just living in her swank North Shore home, taking boat rides, stealing millions of dollars. And it's like, oh no, they caught me. And when they caught her, she was just fucked. And in the whole thing, she didn't think she was a criminal. It's like, you're a fucking criminal. They're going to get you. She had no escape plan. Yeah. It's like somewhere in the first season or two of Better Call Saul, the best character, Mike Ehrmantraut, the really crusty old guy who's scary tough.
Yeah. I haven't actually watched the show. I really want to. I should.
Yeah. I've only watched like
haven't.
the first season or two. I keep thinking I should watch more because it's very good. But he had this one where he's being security for this guy. It's a guy like a nerd who works in a pharmaceutical company who's stealing some of the base chemicals to sell to a drug dealer so they can make illegal drugs out of it. And there's a few sort of misadventures and twists and turns, and it all comes out right because Mike's there and he's like, don't fuck around with me and whatnot. But when it's all over and it works successfully, and this guy's going, oh, what a relief. And Mike gives him a little speech and goes, you need to understand, you're a criminal now. Even if you never do this again, you're a criminal. But if you do it again, you need to embrace this is criminal activity. You are subject to investigation and prosecution. If you don't act every day like you're a criminal, you're an idiot. And it's just like, you're going to convince yourself you're just not, no, you're a criminal. You broke the law in a quite serious way, and you got involved with some very scary criminals. If you don't embrace the fact you're a criminal now, this will come back on you. And this is because we're sold this fiction in movies and TV shows. The concept of criminal masterminds, they don't exist. I don't know, maybe there's one or two criminal masterminds in the world. The thing with criminals is usually they're just ruthless. They're willing to do things that the vast majority of society are not willing to do.
I reckon if criminal masterminds do exist, you just don't hear about them because they don't get caught. And there's so few of them.
Yeah. No, yeah. And the overwhelming...
you have to be so meticulous and so careful to get away with like large crimes.
Yeah.
That and some of them like are investigated for decades.
Yeah.
Decades. So like I mean, to get away with that, you'd like it would take such planning and such organization that it'd be super rare.
Yeah, no, the vast majority of criminals are not criminal masterminds. They're just ruthless. They will do stuff that other people won't do. And you will get away with stuff for a certain period of time if you're willing to do shit that other people just won't do. Because you'll scare people. You'll get away with stuff because you just do shit that other people won't do. It'd be less than 1% of 1% of organized criminals you would actually call like a criminal mastermind. And exactly as you say, because people don't know who they are. Once you know the person's a criminal, even if they're very clever and are covering most of their tracks, it's basically once you're under investigation, it's basically like, well, okay, they know you're a criminal. Now they're just trying to get something they can convict you on. I mean, I don't know, some of them get away with it for a very long time, sometimes for their whole life. But again, they have to live life as a criminal. They have to live knowing they're under investigation and whatnot. And none of this sort of, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the proceeds of crime. It's like, no, if you do that, you're going to get got. It's... it is ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like Hollywood sells us lots of bullshit. One of the bits of bullshit they sell is criminal masterminds are everywhere. I think another big bit of bullshit they sell is serial killers are cool. And it's like, no. They're just broken, fucked up people who do terrible shit. There's nothing special about someone who's willing to hurt other people. It's just, it's just fucked.
Yeah. Shit's fucked,
Sorry.
yo.
I also, my brain just went, now say something awful. And I was just going to say this. And I was trying to top up, what are the awful things? It's like, it's kind of like, when they say strong, independent women, they don't exist either. They all just want a man to run their lives. But I couldn't come up with something sufficiently funny. I know. I just wanted to throw in. I wanted to throw in something really awful, but I couldn't come up with something sufficiently funny to do it in. But it's just.
I'm crashing. I'm like.
It's
actually,
midnight. It's basically midnight.
It is. Yeah.
What if I had a really responsible night as opposed to last Friday night, which was all kinds of wrong on my behalf? I'm just disappointed I didn't get AZ here so I could just threaten him to just stop monologuing or I'll just turn your microphone off.
Oh, he was particularly AZ-y.
And that's the thing. I was so out of it, it wasn't even registering with me. So I was just like, whatever. It was only
he was also getting frustrated that people kept insisting on having a chance to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I've learned is subtlety doesn't work. Just to totally talk across him and even tell him, I am talking across you because you are not going to stop. You are not going to breathe between sentences and you won't stop. So I'm talking over the top of you now.
Yep.
Because anything else doesn't work. In fact, he complained to me once, this was ages ago. Like you were a bit rude the other night. You talked over me. And I just went, as I remember it, I was just fucking sick of you monologuing. And I went back and watched the stream and I went, oh no, I was really fucking rude. And because I never directly said what I was doing. And so, yeah, I wasn't even passive aggressive. It was aggressive what I was doing. Whereas I subsequently learned to just point blank say, you are monologuing. You won't stop monologuing. If I wait for an appropriate moment, that moment will never come. So I'm just going to talk over you and I'm going to explain to you, you need to stop doing what you're doing. But
fair enough.
Sapa, I'm only like a tiny bit Tim Smith. This is I'm being super fucking responsible. I definitely shouldn't drive a car at the moment, but I don't want to drive a car at the moment. But I had 4 drinks, and in terms of actual measures of alcohol over, is that 4 hours? That's about 2, 4, 6, 8, I don't know, 10 standard drinks, which is definitely above the legal limit. Like, there's no way I should drive a car at the moment. But probably not much over the legal limit, but definitely, Trev, I'm definitely going to drive. It'll be my big challenge to walk from here to the bedroom. I know, Safa, me being responsible. What? But this also happened like after I did the fall asleep thing, whether that was a year or 2 years. Time means nothing anymore. I don't even remember how long ago that was. A year or 2 ago, the fall asleep thing. It was kind of like after doing that twice, it's like, okay, you don't want to do that anymore. And then it's like, you take it too easy and you get a bit too comfortable. And then it's like, I literally don't remember a bunch of stuff that happened last night. Well, that's not good, is it? And not even in a small way. Like the whole joke about my son coming home, I was like, for real? My son came home and I talked to him? I do not remember that at all. So it wasn't the slightly grey forgetting. Like that night we were at the Gin Palace. That was a grey, I don't quite remember things thing. This was like, no, that was a big thing happened and I have no memory of it at all.
Damn.
So it was kind of like, okay, learn from that. learn from that you maybe don't want to do that anymore. So it's like, all right. But it's like, I feel like you get too comfortable, you get too relaxed, and you just go, oh, I'm fine. It's like, oh, wait, no, that was a bit one toke over the line, as the old saying goes. And it's like, deep sigh. But I think,
I'm
look, it's
fully asleep,
midnight.
so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, no, it's midnight. I'm going to go to, and tomorrow is date night, so I won't be on. I might do a short early stream on Sunday. Then again, I might not. Who knows when I'll be on next? Who knows? It's a big
We're
wide
taking
stream.
bets.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So you folks all take care, look after yourselves. See you sometime in the future. But bye for now.